Vice President J.D. Vance, welcome.
Oh, wow, dude. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Fun fact about this interviewer, she was really good at oh wait. Should Iran have a nuclear yeah, dude. Yes, we should give Iran nuclear weapons right now, actually. We should pay for them and make them and give them technology. Whatever they need. Duh. Duh. This interviewer is known as a really good softball player. She pitches really good softball interviews for the Trump regime.
Vice President J.D. Vance, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you. Welcome to my home. It's good to have you.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here, and we really appreciate the time with you. We have a lot of topics to get to, but I do want to start with some breaking news. We've learned that the FBI is searching the home of former Ambassador John Bolton, his office as well.
Sure.
Can you tell me, why is the FBI raiding Ambassador Bolton's home and office, and did the White House get a heads up?
Well, so we're in the very early stages of an ongoing investigation into John Bolton. I will say we're going to let that investigation proceed. What I can tell you is that unlike the Biden DOJ and the Biden FBI, our law enforcement agencies are going to be driven by law and not by politics. And so if we think that Ambassador Bolton...
So he says, we are in the early stages of an investigation. Biden would never say that. If a president or a vice president in any other administration said we when referring to the DOJ, they would be impeached. Now, that's normal in the Trump admin, and they think the liberals went after Trump aggressively in a partisan manner with lawfare, but it's not true, obviously. But it's really notable that J.D. Vance is saying they are the same thing. We are doing an investigation right now,
has
guys.
committed a crime, of course, eventually prosecutions will come. But as you know, Kristen, this is all part of gathering evidence, trying to understand something that we're worried about. And of course, I'll let the FBI comment on the next stage of the investigation.
What's at the root of this? Is this about classified documents?
Well, again, I'll let the FBI speak to that. Classified documents are certainly part of it, but I think that there's a broad concern
why does he know any of
Ambassador
this right
Bolton.
now?
They're going to look into it. And like I said, if there's no crime here, we're not going to prosecute it. If there is a crime here, of course, Ambassador Bolton will get his day in court. That's how it should be. But again, our focus here is on, did he break the law? Did he commit crimes against the American people? If so, then he deserves to be prosecuted.
As we have this conversation, has Ambassador Bolton been detained, taken into custody, arrested in any form?
So this news just broke this morning, and the FBI, I haven't talked to the FBI this morning. I don't know the answer to that question. I assume that he hasn't been detained and won't be detained until there's actual prosecution, if that actually happens.
Nice.
As you know, Ambassador Bolton is a frequent critic of President Trump's. He's also on Kash Patel's enemies list. The administration has already revoked his security.
It's so cool having an FBI director who has an enemies list coming into the office. Really cool. Someone said, I'm pausing the recording. Someone said, are we going to see you and Pisco again? It's up to Pisco. Pisco did not respond for weeks and months and whatever. He does a lot of bullshit online slop content. If that's what he's going to do, I don't want to work with him. But if he's going to respond, then I always wanted to. But yeah, it's whatever. I really don't care. Let's how the SS started. What's up? What's up, guys? TDS, LOL. Call in. Call in.
Clearance, Secret Service, protection. Is Ambassador Bolton being targeted because he's a critic of President Trump?
No, not at all. And in fact, if we were trying to do that, we would just throw out prosecutions willy-nilly like the Biden administration DOJ did, prosecutions that later got thrown out in court.
Which ones? Which ones? Name them. Which ones were fake and got thrown out in court? Please bring up the evidence.
If we bring
they
a
can't,
case,
by
of
the
course,
way.
we haven't done that yet. The Department of Justice has not done that yet. We are investigating Ambassador Bolton, but if they ultimately bring a case, it will be because they determine that he has broken the law. We're going to be careful about that. We're going to be deliberate about that because we don't think that we should throw people, even if they disagree with us politically, maybe especially if they disagree with us politically. You shouldn't throw people willy-nilly in prison. You should let the law drive these determinations, and that's what we're doing.
But you know, a lot of people have already looked at this and said this looks a lot like retribution. Is this retribution?
Well, who has said it looks a lot like retribution, Kristen? A lot of people who tried to throw Donald Trump in prison for completely
She's such a bad interviewer. I cannot stand her.
fake charges that were later thrown out by multiple different courts. I suspect that if the media and the American people let this case actually unfold.
I've seen her interview Democrats too. She would never let a Democrat just say a trial with actual evidence or grand jury trials and all these things that Trump actually did. She would never let that slide for a Democrat. Like when J.D. Vance is like, they went after with lawfare against Donald Trump and tried putting him in prison and blah, blah, blah. She would never let that stand for a Democrat. But of course she needs to appeal to the dear leader. And all the media is helping Trump's authoritarianism.
If they let the investigation unfold as it's currently doing, they're going to find out that what we're doing is being very deliberate and being very driven by the national interest and by the law here, and that's as it should be.
Let's turn to
National
the
interest.
war in Ukraine.
Sure.
I had the opportunity to speak with the Russian foreign minister.
I heard.
Oh boy.
Yes, he says,
War in Ukraine.
as of right now, there's no meeting planned between President Putin and President Zelensky. And he added, there needs to be an agenda first, saying, quote, this agenda is not ready at all. Are the Russians stringing President Trump along?
No, not at all, Kristen. I think the Russians have made significant concessions to President Trump for the first time.
Which concession did they make? Because them getting a meeting in America, them getting intel cut off to Ukraine, them getting restrictions of U.S. Aid to Ukraine, Russia getting Trump's propaganda to reinforce their propaganda. Russia's gotten everything they've wanted so far in this entire conflict with Donald Trump's administration.
In 3.5 years of this conflict, they've actually been willing to be flexible on some of their core demands.
Wait,
they've
what?
talked about what
Like
would
what?
be necessary to end the war. Of course, they haven't been
What core
completely
demands?
there.
The core demand of needing to kill every Ukrainian, and now they'll say if we only kill 1/4 of Ukraine, we can end the current war and invade again in another year. Like, is that the compromise?
Yet, or the war would be over, but we're engaging in this diplomatic process in good faith. We are trying to negotiate as much as we can with both the Russians and the Ukrainians to find a middle ground to stop the killing. I think what the president has tried to do here is try to engage in very aggressive, very energetic diplomacy because this war is not in anyone's interest. It's not in Europe or the United States' interest. We don't think it's in Russia or Ukraine's interest to keep going. So we're going to keep on pushing for a diplomatic solution. And one final point about this, Kristen.
Why even say it's not in Europe's interest or America's interest or Ukraine's interest? We know it's not in our interest. It's an interest for China and Russia. Okay, it's in their interest. For the East. Okay, it's in their interest. Why would he even bring up it's in Europe's interest? They did not opt for this war. They did not want this war. Why would you ever say it's not in their interest? That's not the argument we're contending with.
If you look historically, whenever you have a complicated war with a lot of death and destruction, it kind of goes in fits and starts. There are hills and valleys to the negotiation. We sometimes feel like we've made great progress with the Russians, and sometimes, as the president has said, he's been very frustrated with the Russians. And we're going to keep on doing what we have to do to bring this thing to a close. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. I think that we're going to continue to make progress, but ultimately, whether the killing stops, that determination is going to belong to whether the Russians and the Ukrainians can actually find some middle ground here.
Well, you talk about...
Someone in the comments, they always say this too. Someone in the chat said, what's your solution? Now, when we have a situation, there might not be a clear, easy solution. But I do know if there's a gas fire, okay, if there's something on the grill, if there's oil, all right, if I'm frying something, all right, and I see a fire, I know that I can't just put water on it or it's going to make the fire worse. I know there's basic facts about fire and how you resolve that it's not as simple as just putting water on it. It might be a fire, it might be bad, but I can make it worse by doing the wrong thing. Now, Trump is doing everything wrong. Okay, he's done nothing at all right. So I can say that very confidently. He does not have the facts right about the situation. If you don't have the facts right, if you can't agree on basic reality, then you can't make any right decisions, obviously.
concessions, and yet the Russians
So my first goal would be to say, okay, we have the facts right. I have the facts right. Trump does not. All right, I have the facts at least.
rejected the ceasefire proposal that President Trump put forward. There's no meeting plan between President Putin and President Zelensky. And this week, Russia targeted an American factory.
Now, what I would say,
in Ukraine, there were 600 people.
yes, Russia did target an American factory, which, by the way, all the people in my Discord and chat and stuff who said the minerals deal and American companies would be enough to protect Ukraine from Russia, they just bombed an American company, and Trump does not give a singular shit whatsoever. Trump just said that Putin is attractive. He literally called Putin sexy in the Oval Office. That's all Trump did in response to an American company getting blown up. They say, oh, we don't like it. I guarantee you JD Vance is going to say, oh, we don't like it.
Inside at the time, no one was killed.
I don't like that.
What makes you think President Putin is serious about peace?
Well, I didn't say they conceded on everything, but what they have conceded is their recognition that Ukraine will have territorial integrity after the war. They've recognized
territorial integrity.
Is that they're not going to be able to install a puppet regime in Kiev. That was, of course, a major demand at the beginning. And importantly, they've acknowledged that there is going to be some security guarantee to the territorial integrity of Ukraine. Again, have they made every concession?
Now, for everyone in chat, what is my solution? All right, you start with Ukraine's position, which is no territory lost at all. You start with Russia's position, and then you meet somewhere with a negotiation, probably saying they can keep like Crimea and another location if they rescind and go back. All right, they can keep like Crimea, and then there's a security deal for Ukraine. There's security guarantees for Ukraine, and you'll never ever say Russia's new territory is anywhere they took of Ukraine's or annexed of Ukraine's without Ukraine's permission, without an actual deal. You put sanctions on them, secondary sanctions, whatever it takes. You never welcome them back into the global economy because you don't want to reward an invasion of another sovereign territory with an actual territory, not even a swap, but a full annexation of territory to become part of Russia. That would be a domino effect and collapse the entire world. And there goes Taiwan and a bunch of other countries.
Of course they haven't. Should they have started the war? Of course they haven't. But we're making progress, Kristen. And what I admire about the president in this moment is he's not asking 3.5 years ago. He's not trying to focus on every nitpicky detail of how this thing started 3.5 years ago. He's trying to focus on the nitpicky details of now, of what do the parties disagree on, what do they agree on, and how do you build a foundation from one side of that ledger to the other so that you can stop the killing.
But was President Trump enraged when you learned that Russia targeted an American
we didn't like
company
it.
based in Ukraine?
I don't
was
like
that not
it,
a slap
Kristen.
in the face
I
to the peace
don't
process?
like it, Kristen, but this is a
I don't
war,
like
and this
it,
is why
Christian.
we want to stop the killing. The Russians have done a lot of things that we don't like. A lot of civilians have died. We've condemned that stuff from the get-go, and frankly,
can we find another? Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't like it, Chris.
American company. Trump, were you enraged when you learned
Side of that ledger to the other so that you can stop the killing.
But was President Trump, were you enraged when you learned that Russia targeted an American company based in Ukraine?
I don't
was
like
that not
it,
a slap
Kristen.
in the face to the peace
I don't
process?
like it, Kristen, but this is a war, and this.
Now, this is someone who went to Europe and said they are collapsing all of democracy and freedom with their free speech laws that end free speech, a dictatorship in Europe. All right, he says Europe is a huge enemy to America, and all of our allies. He hates them. He loves authoritarian countries. He uses harsh language for that. He tells Zelensky, can you even say thank you to us in the Oval Office? But Russia bombs an American company, spits in the face of America, says, screw you, we hate you, you're weak and pathetic. And JD Vance has no reaction whatsoever. It's very clear what side JD Vance is on. And he's paid by Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and all these other dipshits who are authoritarian. I was going to say a really bad word. Who are authoritarian assholes. They're fully authoritarian guys, okay? And they want the collapse of democracy globally. And someone in chat said that as well, to box in European democracy and also end it in America as well. Yeah, and they support Russia. They want a regime in America like they have in Russia. They want a state command economy, mafia state, where the oligarchs and the state work together to hold down everyone else in society. They work together, and the government and the private interest become intertwined completely with no democratic input. But yeah, imagine that. Oh, did he even say thank you to Zelensky? And then, Trump and Vance, Putin bombs an American company on purpose in Ukraine. And all Trump has to say is, Putin is very attractive and I don't like it. And JD Vance says, oh, I don't like it, but this is a war. You think for any other country in any other circumstance, bombing an American country, someone who cares about the nationalism, the national interest of America, patriotism, whatever, do you think anyone would ever say that? What JD Vance just said? Please drop a like, repost my video, and follow my page. Crazy.
This is why we want to stop the killing. The Russians have done a lot of things that we don't like. A lot of civilians have died. We've condemned that stuff from the get-go, and frankly, President Trump has done more to apply pressure and to apply economic leverage to the Russians, certainly than Joe Biden did for 3.5 years when he did nothing but talk, but do nothing to bring the killing to a stop. So you ask me what I'm enraged by.
The killing in Ukraine from Russia quadrupled since Trump took office. And Russia hated Joe Biden, but they love Trump. Really, really interesting there.
Enraged by is the continuation of the war. What I'm enraged by is a presidency and Joe Biden who for 3 years did.
Oh, wait, he's not mad at Russia for bombing an American company. He's mad at Joe Biden. So Russia bombs an American company, and it's really pertinent. We direct our real anger towards Joe Biden. Yep.
Nothing to end the killing. What I'm actually excited about right now is that we have a president who's engaging
I'm not
in
mad at the
energetic
country that
diplomacy
invaded
to try to stop the killing. That's as it should be. I think the American people should be proud of it.
That's
and
what you
whatever the
call
outcome
anal?
is, whether the war ends in 3 months or 6 months or hopefully not beyond, but maybe we should be proud that we have a president who's trying to stop the killing. He's done it, by the way, 6 wars that the president has brought to a close all over the world. This would be the 7th. It's the most complicated, but we're trying despite that.
I had the opportunity to interview Secretary Rubio last week, and he said he actually doesn't think that new sanctions would force Putin into a ceasefire. Are sanctions now off the table, Mr. Vice President?
No, sanctions aren't off the table, but we're going to make these determinations on a case-by-case basis. What do we think is actually going to exert the right kind of leverage to bring the Russians to the table? Now, you said sanctions were not going to lead to a ceasefire. I think that's obviously correct. If you look at the way the Russians have conducted themselves, they don't want a ceasefire. They don't want a ceasefire for complicated reasons. We, of course, have pushed for a ceasefire, but again, we don't control
for complicated
what Russia does.
reasons.
The war would have been over 7 months ago. What we do believe, though, is that we continue to have a lot of cards. The President of the United States has a lot of cards left to play.
Oh, a lot
to
of cards.
Pressure to try to bring this
you forgot
to a close. And that's what we're
it rhymes with that.
You take me to my next question. Where exactly is the pressure on Russia to do anything if you're not right now imposing new sanctions? How do you get them to a place of getting to the table with Zelensky?
You know, Joe Biden let this war happen, and I'm really mad that he let the killing happen. And right now we're trying to engage in diplomacy to really encourage Russia with our strength to come to a compromise with Ukraine. And Ukraine needs to want peace as well.
Stopping to drop bombs.
But Kristen, I think that question betrays a fundamental misunderstanding of where we are. The president has applied aggressive economic leverage, for example, the secondary tariffs on India to try to make it harder for the Russians to get rich from their oil economy. He's tried to make it clear that Russia can be re-invited into the world economy if they stop the killing.
Did those even happen?
But they're going to continue to be isolated if they don't stop the killing. The president has applied more economic pressure to the Russians to stop this war than Biden did in 3 years.
You know,
so the idea that we're not doing anything, we're already doing things right now, and this is how negotiation works. You do something, you talk to the parties, you try to see if there's a meeting of minds. Again, we believe we've already seen some significant concessions from both sides just in the last few weeks. We're going to eventually be successful, or we'll hit a brick wall. And if we hit a brick wall...
I'm not seeing Russia... Okay, I think he just lied about that, which is not, you know... I'm pretty sure the secondary tariffs were not on Russia. I think it was on India. I'm trying to see if there's actual third-party nations that are getting secondary tariffs right now for real that actually went into effect because Trump lies about them all the time. Does anyone have any links on that? If there ever actually was a freaking secondary tariff? So we can't do the secondary sanctions for real. We got to do secondary tariffs in a bullshit way.
Then we're going to continue this process.
No, if they're enacted, this never happened, I don't think. I'm pretty sure this never happened. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure the secondary tariffs never happened.
Process of negotiation, of applying leverage. This is the energetic diplomacy that's going to bring this war to a close.
I hear what you're saying about India. China is actually the largest buyer of Russian oil.
They're close. They're about equal.
Why no sanctions on China?
Well, obviously we have a 54% tariff on the PRC right now, so we've already
Wait, but what about Russia selling? Okay.
Applied pretty hefty sanctions on the Chinese, and we've had a number of conversations at all levels of government to try to
secondary tariff wouldn't work the same as a
encourage the Chinese to be better partners and bring this war to a close.
That's
so again,
stupid.
I think the question
even if they did happen, that's stupid.
Of what's going on? We are applying aggressive economic pressure.
Please drop likes on my stream. I have 23 likes. If I get 35 likes, I'll take some calls.
To bring this war to a close. Maybe we'll apply additional pressure. Maybe if we feel like we're making progress, we'll dial that pressure back. That give and take is part of the negotiation that we think is working. It hasn't reached its final outcome yet, but we're going to keep on working on this process for as long as we can.
Just to boil down what the Russian concessions might look like, is the only thing that President Trump is asking Russia to give up is not to invade all of Ukraine?
No, that's not it at all.
Yes.
It's providing the Ukrainians the kind of security guarantees that ensures that the country is
like
not
what?
going to be invaded again. And this is really,
What kind of
this
security
is why I think we've made a lot
guarantee?
of progress, Kristen. Even though we're not yet there, why
I mean, Trump already said he probably would not back up Article 5 of NATO.
we've made a lot of progress is fundamentally the disagreement here is over security.
It's all done. It's all dead. Like, if America is not going to respond, even in words, all right? If America's not going to respond in words to Russia bombing an American company, it's cooked. It's cooked, bro. It's cooked. We're cooked.
Guarantees versus where you draw the battle lines in Ukraine. So whether we solve those issues, we've actually identified the two critical issues, one to the Ukrainians, one to the Russians. And I think that that is where the fruit, if we ultimately solve this thing, that's where the fruit of an agreement will come.
I want to get to security guarantees, but very quickly, if Russia is allowed to keep any of the territory that it illegally seized, what message does that send to China? Does it give China a green light to invade Taiwan? Does it give
What is he going to say? What is he going to say? Stop the killing, probably?
Russia a green light to invade other European countries, which is what your
Our main
European
goal
allies
is to
are
stop the
concerned
killing.
about.
Well, first of all, the Ukrainians are going to ultimately make the determination about where you draw the territorial lines in their own country. But Kristen, this is how wars ultimately get settled. If you go back to World War II, if you go back to World War I, if you go back to every major conflict in human history, they all end with some kind of negotiation. We're actually not active parties in the negotiation.
Wait.
Settled. If you go back to World War II, if you go back to World War I, if you go back to every major conflict in human history, they all end with some kind of negotiation. We're actually not.
Okay. World War II collapsed That's crazy as shit, dude. Okay, you shouldn't need to say this to any functioning brain, but Trumpers are a little silly, and they wear really colorful helmets like 24/7. The whole world order collapsed in World War II. We had a world war, okay, and we had nuclear bombs dropped, and we had genocides, and we had a Holocaust. We had so many things happen, obviously, and the negotiations came after the war was fought and millions died, like tens of millions died, and then there was not a compromise found to end that. In fact, appeasement of Nazi Germany was probably the main reason we had an entire global conflict. The appeasement and not being able to stop them. To learn a lesson from World War II, it would be to not appease the Russians, if anything.
Active parties in the negotiation. We're effectively mediating. We're trying to mediate the Ukrainians and the Russians to come to some agreement. If the Ukrainians are willing to say something on territory that brings the conflict to the close, we're not going to stop them. We're also not going to force them because it's not our country. We're trying to play a constructive role. The president is trying to play a constructive role to bring peace to the region, but he's not going to force these parties to walk through the door. All he can do is open the door and ask them to negotiate in good faith.
You talk about security guarantees.
Sure.
Foreign Minister Lavrov discussed the importance of Russia being a part of security guarantees. Ukraine says that's a non-starter. Is that a non-starter for the United States as well? How can Russia secure Ukraine when it's dropping bombs on
There's
Ukraine?
a little bit of a talking past each other here. First of all, we're not talking about security guarantees until after the war has come to a close. And of course, the Russians are going to be a part of the conversation about bringing that war to a close. So of course, they're going to have some stake in this. They're going to talk about this. That doesn't mean that they're going to have troops in Ukrainian territory. But how can you reasonably provide security guarantees without talking to the Russians about what would be necessary to bring the war to a close? So I think there's a little bit of people talking past each other. This is going to be a security guarantee provided by a host of nations. I think the Europeans are obviously going to play a big role. We think there are other countries all over the world that might play a big role. The Russians are going to be involved because they're the critical party that's necessary to stop the killing. Again, this is how negotiations happen. It's this give and take. It's a conversation between both sides.
Very quickly, before I move to domestic issues for Americans who are watching, can you guarantee no U.S. boots on the ground as a part of these security guarantees?
The president's been very clear. There are not going to be boots on the ground in Ukraine, but we are going to continue to play an active role in trying to ensure that the Ukrainians have the security guarantees and the confidence they need to stop the war on their end. And the Russians feel like they can bring the war to a conclusion on their end. It's complicated, Kristen, but we're going to keep on trying to play these parties. We're going to keep on trying to convince these parties to talk to each other and continue to play the game of diplomacy because that's the only way to get this thing wrapped up.
All right.
Imagine someone breaks in your house and starts stealing things, and then like the cops show up and they're like, hey, we need to let them steal just enough to leave. Like, we're going to tell them no a couple times and maybe even help them steal a little bit. But like eventually they're going to leave and they're going to keep your stuff. But we need the robbery to stop, guys. Like, Ukraine is the house and the robbery, the thief is coming in. All right. They're burglaring. Burglary and robbery are two different things. Fun fact in criminology. whatever, who cares? But still, it's a crazy, like, you would just say, like, oh, if someone can just steal stuff from me and it's not illegal and they have no threat of repercussion, then they're going to steal again, right? They're going to steal again, and then other people are going to steal as well. It's the same concept of laws internationally.
Let's talk about some domestic issues now. This week you were in Georgia. You were there to talk about and promote the One Big Beautiful Bill. And it also comes in the same week that Texas Republicans approved 5 new Republican seats. So they expanded the map for Republicans in their state. If President Trump's agenda is so popular, why do Republicans?
70% of Ukrainians support an immediate ceasefire, according to Gallup poll. Yeah, they do. That's why Ukraine has signed on to every ceasefire, dipshit. That's why Ukraine has signed on to every ceasefire so far, dipshit. That's why Russia does not. Because they want to keep on killing Ukrainians and keep on stealing from them. Okay? Ukraine has signed on to every ceasefire so far. Russia does not. And Trump supported a ceasefire, all right, until Putin came, and Trump got his knee pads on. And after that whole thing, Trump wiped his mouth off and said, you're right, Putin, no more ceasefire. After a meeting with Putin, Trump is against the ceasefire now, by the way. You dumbass.
Republicans need to add additional seats to the map.
Well, first of all, Kristen, you have to ask yourself, why have Democrats gerrymandered their states aggressively over the past 10 to 20 years? If you look, for example, at the popular vote in a lot of these states, and Massachusetts, where 32% of the residents of Massachusetts voted for Republicans, 0 Republican federal representatives. So we're not trying to sort of, all we're doing, frankly, is trying to make the situation a little bit more fair on a national scale. The Democrats have gerrymandered their states really aggressively. We think there are opportunities to push back against that.
Republicans gerrymander more globally, not globally, in the country. They have more state houses, so they have the ability to gerrymander more. No Republicans actually pass independent redistricting committees. Democrats do. So when it comes to, with our entire country, Republicans benefit from gerrymandering far more than Democrats do. There are some Democratic states that are gerrymandered, sure, 100%, that is true. But there is a reason Republicans do not want to ban it nationwide. There's a reason Republicans are against banning it, all right? Democrats are for banning it, Republicans are anti-banning it. There's a reason for it.
And that's really all we're doing.
And yet, Mr. Vice President, you were able to win the House and the Senate in 2024. Why can't you do it again without adding additional?
We had
because
way,
it was unfair.
This is a
We
very
could have won by
important
far
question.
more.
We had way fewer House seats than we should have. One,
Yes, we
if
should have had
Democrats
80
hadn't aggressively
seats
gerrymandered,
more
and
than
2,
Democrats.
if illegal aliens weren't counted in the census for purposes of.
By the way, Florida lost out on some seats. Okay, you know why Florida lost out in the census? Because Trump undercounted immigrants. So like Texas, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, these states would lose a lot of representation if they cut out immigrants, and it's constitutional to count immigrants, but if they don't count immigrants anymore, Republican states would lose people too. A lot of people, in fact.
Portioning congressional seats. The best estimates I've seen is that California,
Maybe
for
more.
example, has 5 additional congressional seats than it should have because they count illegal aliens for the purpose of apportioning representatives. Meanwhile, Ohio, my home state, lost a representative. We're literally losing representatives for American citizens.
Wait, I thought Ohio had the Haitians in Springfield. Ohio had the Haitians. How did they lose a seat?
In order to give congressional representation to illegal
They brought in all the
aliens,
Haitians.
Republicans are trying to balance out the scales a little bit for basic fairness and for the integrity of our democracy, which the president cares about as much as anybody in the country.
But of course, people who are here and who are not documented are not eligible to vote. But
They're not eligible to vote, but they do go in the
according
congressional
to the
apportionment.
Constitution.
That's why California has so many more seats, is because they count illegal aliens. So even though they don't vote, well, some of them actually do vote, but hopefully most of them.
I bet Republicans are going to recommend a 3/5 compromise for immigrants. They're going to have another 3/5 compromise, I guarantee you. They're looking for it. Republicans are itching at it. They want to say it, but they can't. They want to say 3/5. They can't say it, though. They can't say a 3/5 compromise. Immigrants should count for 3/5 of every person. Ooh, I bet you they want to bring it back. I bet you they want to bring it back.
Them don't, they end up getting congressional representation that ought by right go to American citizens.
I know we're almost out of time, so 2 more quick ones. The administration deployed the National Guard to D.C. to crack down on crime. You visited with them this week.
Yep.
At least 6 Republican states are sending in their own National Guard troops as reinforcement. But many of these states have cities that actually have crime rates that are worse than Washington, D.C. So why aren't these states sending National Guard troops into their own states to deal with the crime issue?
Well, look,
and is that a possibility?
Well, look, if the local governors want to make that determination, we'll leave it up to the local governors. But what we have control over is the nation's capital. And if you look, for example, at the murder rate in D.C., it rivals some of the worst cities, the most violent cities anywhere.
Remember, this argument is stupid and fake because they have the argument for the home rule stuff in D.C. for the police and everything and National Guard. a federal district, not a state. But they also want to do this in Chicago, for example, or Los Angeles, or Philadelphia, or New York. If you look at these areas, there's other cities in America that have much higher rates of crime, like St. Louis, for example. Memphis has a really high rate of crime. There's the cities with the highest crime in America are in red states, and the highest crime rates in general are red states and Republican governors and Republican states in general. So when they say, "Oh, it's D.C., we can take care of the capital," they're normalizing the military in the streets because they want to take it to every other city in America as well, Baltimore, etc.
In the world. That's a disgrace for our nation. That's a disgrace for the residents who live in D.C. who just want to take their kids to a park or walk down Union Station or take their family out for a bite to eat without being accosted by a vagrant or a violent criminal. They should have that.
Now remember, they have to say vagrant, okay? They have to say alien for immigrants, vagrant for this. They have to say like woke for black people. They need to use words to dehumanize. You know when liberals and progressives are really annoying and they say unhoused people? It's like unhoused people and those who have a substance abuse disorder instead of addict or instead of homeless. It's people-centered language. So there's the middle ground where you say homeless people. There's the left version where you say unhoused population. Then the right version is disgusting vagrants who want to kill you, okay? Basically. And Trump called them cockroaches as well. So there's a humanizing portion on the left and there's a dehumanizing portion on the right. They want to dehumanize people. The left is going to dehumanize like really rich people probably in some circumstances in the far left. But in terms of progressivism in America, 99% of the left in America, that's why they use language like unhoused people. They don't want to fall into the right-wing trap of labeling human beings as animals like J.D. Vance wants to do here.
Though in the nation's capital.
Crime has dropped over 35%.
It's a lot easier to justify killing someone or imprisoning them wrongfully if you call them welfare queens or vagrants or aliens. It's easier to justify, or cockroaches. There's never been a regime in human history that called human beings cockroaches that did not want to exterminate eventually or do really bad authoritarian things to that population.
In the nation's capital in 10 days because of what Donald J. Trump
has
done.
So is that mission accomplished?
I think that there's so much more that we could do. Absolutely not. It's not mission accomplished. When you make
Hey, call in. You think I'm dumb? Call in. I'm really dumb. I'm a dumb liberal. Come call into my show. Number up top. Drop a like, okay, guys? Please.
Such big progress in a matter of a week and a half. I think that you step on the gas and try to make D.C. even more safe. And here's the thing, Kristen. We don't have to live like this. My message to my fellow citizens here in D.C. or all across the country
we need to send in the military
that allowing
everywhere at all
vagrants and
times.
armed robberies to take over your city, that's a policy choice.
I know a bunch of people who live in D.C., okay? I know a bunch of them, and none of them feel safer. None of them want random people. None of them want random federal agents unidentified in the streets. Most of these crimes, by the way, are not on random people. They are people that know each other. They are people who are fighting each other, whatever. Murders, there's not random shooters going after just random white people in Washington, D.C. These are within poor areas, usually contained to poor areas. So all the white people I know in D.C. and a couple black people and a couple Hispanic, like they do not want this to happen at all. At all, dude. At all. At all. All right. Please drop a like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Here's a caller. I'm promoting capitalist propaganda. Shit.
Call from.
Shit. Is this Benjamin Franklin?
No.
Damn. I thought you were back, homie.
No. But I've been called Benjamin Franklin my whole life. So,
yeah, I can see it. Yeah, it works.
Yeah. Hey, so I was watching your live, and you have your number up. I'm watching on YouTube, by the way. I don't know if you're posting on multiple apps.
I will be expanding to multiple platforms soon, but I'm only on YouTube right now.
Okay, cool. YouTube's where it's at anyways. That's where I spend most of my time.
Yeah, me too.
And I was, I only spent about 5 minutes in the comments, but I had a couple back and forths with a few of your mods. And, I feel like a lot of the language around Trump is always, it's a little late, so forgive me, but so I might not be using the right adjective, but I feel like it's a little exaggerated. And like you mentioned earlier about how there's never been a country or a dictator in the world that's ever called someone a cockroach. and not wanted to like exterminate them. So I looked up on 3 search engines, has Trump ever called anyone a cockroach before? And he's never called anyone a cockroach before. He said that he's used the term vermin when talking about his political enemies. He has used the word animals multiple times, talking about criminals and immigrants. And he's used the word incest, talking about undocumented immigrants. So, and then, a couple of the mods were talking about, we'll see you in the concentration camps and you're going to be next and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know. I just me and my husband, we've been together 15 years. We live in Texas. Like if you, kind of watched some of the, I don't know, just kind of vitriol going on right now, you would think we'd be on the first train to the concentration camp. My husband's, his family's from Mexico. His great grandparents were born there. His grandparents and his parents were born here. But like we're fine. Like we live in Texas. Like nobody's like coming after us. Like I just feel like we need to maybe not exaggerate when we're talking about this guy, because that's where normies roll their eyes. That's where people just kind of tune out, because all of the political language has been so elevated. And it's not just you, it's not just your live. And I actually don't think you're the worst actor of it. I think cable news is the worst actor of this. It's like, and I'll kind of make an anecdote to like weather. Like we noticed this summer that they never talked about the temperature. They talked about the, what's it called? The feels like temperature. Not once. We watched the David Muir on ABC News every night, the world news. Every night, 169 million Americans are in a dangerous heat wave. It feels like 116 in Savannah today and 120 in Memphis and, all this kind of stuff. And we look at the temperatures and it's like 89 and humid in Memphis. You know what I mean? So it's like people don't know when there's a real hurricane coming, because there's like every tropical storm is like magnified so much. I mean, we even name like winter storms now. Like I'm only 39 years old. I remember when I was a kid, we didn't name winter storms. Like they weren't like,
I mean, in Texas, all those kids just
Do you
died
get
in
what
that
I'm
flood,
saying?
right? All the kids just died in that flood in Texas, right?
They did, yeah.
So,
And I actually know people that went to that camp. Yeah.
Do you think in that situation being more sensational might have helped?
Yes, I agree.
Okay,
It would have
so
helped.
it's not that bad to be super sensational about the weather, just in case if something bad happens like that.
So here's the deal. So when do you choose when to be sensational? So because
So like
that
it
flash,
shouldn't be that
yeah,
big. That's a modern culture thing. That's a modern issue that everyone has a massive psychosis and mental health issues from the internet, because we should be able to
you're
handle
right.
all these things and say we have to be at high alert without going to war. Like right now, Trump using the military in all these democratic cities is the moves of an authoritarian. And we do have checks and balances in this country, and we do have like a social push against what Trump is doing, trying to put people in jail for burning the American flag and speaking against him. We could go down
Yeah.
the list, because there are a lot of people hurt right now. Just because you're not affected yet, you will be. I promise you will be. Especially being a gay man, you will be affected someday. They just need you now to be passive, so they can take care of the other people first before they get to you. But I would say we should be able to handle
Yeah.
tough situations without going right to the military or without going right to the most sensational thing. I think it's good to be high alert and still be able to maintain control without going crazy.
Look, I agree, and I think that you're a logical person, and I think most of your audience is too. But I just think that the most people that work a 9 to 5, they have a family, they have life going on. They watch the 30-minute news at night. They scroll on YouTube for 45 minutes before they go to bed, or maybe a little while they're traveling, kind of thing. And like that flash flood that happened here in Texas, it didn't happen until 2 a.m. And we are getting so many Amber alerts on our phones and push alerts and all kinds of things that people turn off the alerts on their phones.
Well,
You know
that's
what I
that's
mean?
true, but
And
also the Biden
like,
admin passed funding in the ARA, the American Rescue Plan, or sorry, ARP, that would have given funding to that area because it's in a floodplain. That would have given funding to help them build a siren system, and they said no. They said it was communism. They said Biden was going to steal their homes, and they rejected building these alarm systems in this
hmm
exact area. So if there was a flood of this size, what they said back then was, we don't got to spend the money on this. I mean, we don't need the money from this evil administration. So you have the aggressive, Biden gave money to red areas, and they rejected it and spit in his face and gave him no credit, made him the least popular president in American history. And then we have all these
yeah,
little girls die, and this area that said, oh, you guys are a bunch of pussies who are afraid of all these natural disasters, and all that when it rains, you think it's going to be a catastrophe. Now they're all grieving their children that are dead, and they get mad when we come up and say, hey, dude, you probably should have installed the siren system that we wanted you to install. But they called us pussy liberals that were being too cautionary beforehand. Your point about regular people and how they perceive it,
yeah.
I understand that completely. But when the president is justifying Russia, justifying El Salvador, justifying Hungary, and turning against all of our allies, and advocating for policies in America that erode our freedoms in general, I don't want to wait till it comes for me to be against it. And if they have not woken up yet, they will wake up eventually. And I don't use extreme language all the time. So like I do different
Yeah.
conversations, different levels of conversation, but they need to wake up. And I'm going to be hard on them too, because we can't, if they don't wake up, we're screwed, in this country. And we sent innocent people to die and be tortured and raped in El Salvador, and no one gives a shit. A Democrat got assassinated by a crazy MAGA Christian nationalist terrorist a few months ago, and no one even talked about it in the news, and Trump laughed about it. No one gave a shit. So if we don't come back from this, we're screwed as a country.
Look, so many points I agree with you on, and I think, if I know the format kind of your show. I mean, and thank you, by the way, earlier for letting me try to explain myself while rambling through anecdotes. So I know we don't have 30 minutes to talk,
Hmm.
but every situation is complicated, and like with that storm issue, it wasn't just the sirens. It wasn't just that the 55% of voters in that area said, screw you, commies, we don't want your money. There were also emergency management personnel that were appointed and elected in the area by both sides, because that South Texas area actually has a pretty good amount of Democrats currently, not with the redrawn map, but currently, that didn't show up for trainings, that didn't go to conferences where they were supposed to be up to
Wait,
date on
I'm sorry,
current
really
training.
quick. You do know
Yeah,
the FEMA person that did local response coordination there took an early retirement plan when Doge was forcing people out of FEMA. So like that person that was responsible for coordinating with local officials that knew the area well was forced out in these Trump cuts and the Trump early
got
retirement
it.
packages.
Got it. Well, look, I was a combat medic in the Army. The government is a big thing. So FEMA, we can say that one person that was of the area got forced out, but there were 60 people underneath them. And the two emergency management people for Careville, which is where the biggest death happened, did not go to all of their trainings before Trump was elected. And also from what, look, I live in Texas, so I know people that went to that camp, so I think I've probably paid
I'm sorry. Really,
a little bit.
I'm sorry. I don't want to stay
Yeah,
on this
yeah.
point too long. But even if they had the training
It wasn't
necessary,
just about they hate liberals.
without a siren system, an area with faulty cellular connection, without that response system, a siren system, it would have been dangerous too for
Yeah.
emergency first responders as well to even alert people in that
hmm
situation with a flash flood. So regardless, the Republicans in the area should own it and say we should do better in the future to protect our kids, because they don't want to do things like that to prevent crisis, including vaccines. In our country, we're going to be banning the COVID vaccine soon for even people that want it and need it.
Okay.
This
Okay,
country's
for
going
sure.
off a cliff.
Okay, so if
But I want to get to
so
one
if
of the
I
really
agree,
bad things Trump did then, really quick.
okay. All right, you want to talk about one of the things that Trump just did?
Well, in general, like Trump, he talked today about America wanting a dictator, and he's really good at it, and he should be a dictator. And his ability to just say all fact or reality does not matter whatsoever. We're in a mass psychosis. They call this Kilmar Abrego Garcia guy an MS-13 terrorist, domestic abuser, child abuser, predator who's in America to destroy and kill white people. The White House just posted that again today with nothing
Yeah.
in court, nothing at all. no proof whatsoever, just to demonize this person, the U.S. government. They can and will do that about literally anyone. And I know they can deport him, but it's not a deportation. They want to label him as a terrorist and an MS-13 predator. And Americans see this happen and see people like me talking about it, and they say, yeah, that's messed up, and they agree with it. So like, I think it does work to talk about things in the way that I do. I don't call him like a crazy like fascist, whatever, blah blah blah. Like when I have the conversations, I hone in on those.
But
points.
I do think you owe it to your audience though to like whenever, and I know the format, but whenever you're talking about somebody like okay, the Kilmer or Brego Garcia thing, okay, is it like, and here's what's so dangerous about Trump, okay, he is a salesman, and the worst kind of salesman, because he can actually convince people and talk to people. It's like a two truths and a lie thing. So he says that he is a wife beater. I mean, isn't there a police report from his wife that he hit his wife? I mean, that isn't anything that Trump made up. There literally is a police report from Kilmer or Brega Garcia's wife that he committed domestic violence against her. Then you talk about him being a gang member. Well, maybe he wasn't a gang member. Maybe the tattoos are a little overplayed. But I have watched a 30-minute long police cam video where he was taking other undocumented workers across the country, and he didn't know who they were, where they were going, or anything. So maybe he was just a runner for the gang. I don't know. But that's
that doesn't mean gang. But also, all of this, when it comes to the American government abusing its powers, I want you to realize as well that people like you, the moderates who are afraid to stand up for the right thing, who are just saying like, don't overblow it, I want to live in comfort, people like you will lead to our downfall. Like we need you saying something about this stuff.
I do just wish though that the side that I've been on like most of my life, which is the Democrat Party, that I just feel like there's no like owning of a lot of things. And it's like we can point out all these bad things on the side that we, look, I don't want to get bogged down with you, but I mean, there's a lot of things that I feel like is just like, oh, don't worry about that because this guy's bad. So, don't worry about that, half of Southern California just burned down and not a single house has been built yet. And don't worry about that, $250 million in SNAP aid for Somalian kids in Minnesota was completely wasted on welfare. Don't worry about, the fact that there's the reason why our auto insurance is one of the reasons. I know it's a multi-pronged thing, but is because there's 60 million people driving around with that aren't able to be part of our system, and so they don't have insurance. And there's just a lot of things that I feel like our side doesn't talk about, and it's just like, oh,
it's just really difficult when people like you believe in these really dumb narratives. Like the issue in America is that people.
Tell me what I just said. Tell me just
so
what
like
tell
in
me
America,
the three cases. Yeah.
So in America, we have extremely high
things.
rates of inequality. That's why we have higher violent crime and also higher gun deaths in America. We have for car insurance, it's because Americans are shitty drivers with big ass cars that are stupid as shit. Like the big trucks on the road are the big reason.
It's not because there's.
It's not because of immigrants. No, you could even say there's like some type of. I could see why. Yeah, I can see why you're having this opinion though, because you're a little bit tough on immigrants. You don't like immigrants that much. But like, when we look at the actual numbers of insurance companies, the big issue in America is the high fatality rate of American citizens, the high fatalities of truck drivers. In fact, immigrants in America, including immigrant truck drivers, have a lower crash rate and fatality rate, auto fatality, than American citizens, and lower crime rate. But whenever an immigrant gets to a crash, they're on the news 24/7. And this is what I mean with people like you. You help perpetuate a narrative that helps Trump win, because you perpetuate a narrative of the BS, and you don't stand up for, like, Joe Biden.
You didn't
his
point
legislative.
Out anything that I said that was BS. By the way, you didn't address any of the three things that I said, which is Southern California burned and not a single house has been rebuilt.
I addressed the auto insurance, right? Auto insurance, right?
Well, you didn't say anything about uninsured people. You just said, oh, America has inequalities and people drive shitty big Suburbans, which isn't. I mean, yes, you could say, oh, whatever. If you look at the numbers, it's what, like 10% of people drive big cars. I mean, I live in Texas, and not everybody has a big jacked up truck. My neighbors have Nissan Versas and Volkswagen Jettas, dude. So, I mean, not everything is.
No, I just mean that when it comes to the ranking of top things affecting car insurance prices, I would bring up immigration as like barely top 10. Like maybe not even top 10, and you brought that up as a key
Well, and I
issue.
didn't
And for
even say
California,
immigration. I said
California was a
uninsured, but yeah.
California was a well, that's what you mean. California was a generational. You literally brought up illegals. You don't got to run from it. But California was also a generational fire.
Got it, yeah.
Do you think
And
there
you
was a
told me
way
that
they
I
could?
don't like immigrants.
Do you think
which you got
California?
no
Do you
evidence
think
for.
do you think California could have prevented that?
I do actually, because if you look at other countries that have large forests, they do things like managed burns. They do things
Wait.
like
Are you?
putting.
Do you think you're an intelligent person?
I am. I went to
Have
school
you
in Carlsbad, California.
Okay,
I've lived in Southern
Have you looked up
California.
the areas? Have you seen the areas where the fire has taken place?
Yeah, actually, if you
On
want to
the
look up
mountainsides?
where I lived for a year and a half, it was in the basement of someone's house in the Palisades, and her entire street is burned down except for her house. And the only reason why her house is still standing is because she took out all of her plants and put in plastic and concrete. All the other houses on her street are burned, and there's not a single house that's been rebuilt yet.
When
And
all
it's not right on the
do you
water.
think that California lacked water?
No, there's a lot of water, but they let it go into the ocean. They don't capture any of it.
Okay, you don't know anything about this area then. You said you lived there?
Yeah, I lived in Carlsbad,
They had no
California
issue
for
with
2.5
water supply, with water
years.
going into the ocean. Do you think it's because of the little fish Trump talks about?
No, actually, I don't know what you're talking about, but I know that there's about that at least. There is no like big reservoirs that are close to the coast that can keep rainwater.
So like in California, the issue with the water there was the water infrastructure. It's because there's no infrastructure system in the world that could have used enough water to fight a fire that big.
To put out a fire that big. Right, but if
Yeah, it
they
was
would have
impossible.
done controlled, if I agree with you that it was impossible to put it out.
All the
once it
reports
started.
say this crisis was unavoidable. Like there's no reports that say that they do this already. They have big budgets for it. If anything, Republicans cut the budget
Right.
for that. Like they blame Karen Bass for it, but they had a bigger budget because of her. Republicans wanted to slash it in half, and Democrats increased it. But somehow Democrats got blamed when Republicans wanted to cut the
All right.
budget
Well,
more
what
for
do
the
you
fire
have to
police.
say right now? Okay. Well, what about Gavin Newsom? He just put in the state firefighters. He just sent them up to Napa, California, and pre-put them there before a little fire got way out of control. Why didn't he do that whenever it was this fire? Whenever that was actually during high fire season?
Because weren't there like
I mean,
70-hour winds, like a fire hurricane? Wasn't like a fire tornado?
I might actually agree with you here on something, hopefully, because I don't want to leave this call with you thinking that I'm like whatever you think I am, because I don't think
it's
I
okay.
am.
You don't gotta be insecure. I don't think anything about you.
Okay, got it. So I think that that's like a taking care of the rich thing, because he's willing to take care of Napa, where all the wineries are, where all their estates are, where all their little friends are.
The California area that burned was rich. The California was rich. The area that burned was extremely rich.
Not the entire area. There were 3 fires that happened in Southern California. The one that everybody shows, the helicopter flying over the 1-2 blocks in Malibu that got burned, that was the area that gets talked about. There were entire middle-class neighborhoods that were burned down in the LA fire.
But when we talk about a small fire you can contain, okay, you know it's developing. 5,000 acres were burnt in one day in California. Unless if you gave your entire state budget, unless if you gave $1 trillion to the fire department to have a fire department, the fire police at every corner of LA, 24/7, 365, which is untenable completely, you would not be able to prevent that. And it just doesn't make any logical sense. There's no reports at all that say you could have prevented this fire. The only people that say this are people that buy into the propaganda. I'm just saying, like, the thing you brought up about immigrants or about uninsured people, that is not in the top 10 of insurance prices for cars. Tariffs are probably going to drive up insurance prices more than that will. It actually will, guaranteed.
Might agree with you on that, because replacement parts for cars are going to go way up, and that's going to drive up the insurance costs. So I agree with
and
you.
healthcare, and premiums
my whole thing about the California fires was a little bit of a 3-pronged thing. I think that people in power take care of their own, regardless of if they're red or blue. And also, I feel like, just like here in Kerrville, that people whined about noise and said, "Oh, we don't want sirens," which actually was a thing they said. "Oh, we don't want to waste government money on these things." Da 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 da. I feel like in some areas they are more than willing to waste government funds. Whenever it's like, "Oh, we need to do a 3-year study on if it's okay if we put in a 50-yard, cut down these 50 yards of shrubs." So
Did you
that
read
if a
Abundance by
fire
Ezra Klein?
happens, did I read a what? A budget by
Did you read
Ezra?
Abundance by Ezra Klein?
No, I haven't.
You would love that book with how you're talking about this. Okay, just really quick with the blue and red thing.
Yeah.
Biden fully funded a red area in North Carolina right away with FEMA, 100% funding. Trump,
Look, I could pick up 10 things on
Arkansas
both
had to
sides
beg Trump
that
to give
people do.
FEMA funding. Arkansas had to beg
funded
Trump.
HBCUs. Trump funded HBCUs forever.
Biden funded
that doesn't-
HBCUs
that
10
doesn't
times
make him-
more.
That doesn't make him a good person. is what I'm
He
trying to
actually
tell you,
lowered
that
the funding
Trump
total.
isn't. Okay, got it. Okay, I'm just saying, you could say Biden funded an area in North Carolina and Trump did this for this people and whatever. All these people that are in power, I think all of this right versus left, red versus blue, white versus black stuff, I think we really need to start talking about rich versus poor, and on both sides, because there's a lot.
I agree
do you
in
ever
some
watch?
sense.
Do you ever watch RuPaul's Drag Race? I don't know if you've ever
Well, I
watched
never
that show,
watched
but
it, but I know about it.
Okay, well, in one episode, they had the drag queens do a fake political thing. It'll be easy for you to look up the episode because Jeff Goldblum was the guest judge. And one of the drag queens, they were asking all these questions, and they were doing like a on the stump thing, and asked one of the drag queens a hard-hitting question. And she said, "Oh, look over there." And that's what I feel like happens. I feel like there are a lot of things that are really going on right now, and everybody is just like, "Trump tweeted this, Trump said that." I'm like, cool, he tweeted something. He's a bad person. Got it. Can we
Okay, I'm sorry.
He's
He cut cancer research in America by like 70% in Alzheimer's research. He sent innocent people to be tortured in El Salvador. He's cutting our funding for institutions and universities based on their opinions. He's cutting student visas based on if they like Israel or not. Like, he's doing he wants to put people in jail for 10 years for burning the American flag. He signed an executive order to try to do that. He's nationalizing the National Guard or federalizing it without a state's consent, just saying he wants to free the local people from their elected officials. Like, he's doing a lot of he's cutting Medicaid for millions of Americans. He's decreasing tax on the wealthy, giving us a huge. He's doing more for the wealthy than any president in American history. And I know you said this is the final thing I'll say. People, like, if they hear me and they get frustrated, it's usually because I say very factual stuff about politics. So I have issues with Democrats who are corrupt. I have issues with Republicans who are corrupt. Trump right now is by far the most corrupt politician in American history, just from a dollar amount, let alone actual decisions. But from a dollar amount, he's made probably $3 billion or more off the presidency with the crypto coin and all the business deals he uses extortion to get with the U.S. government. And the big thing about politics is Joe Biden did not pass the Infrastructure or Inflation Reduction Act, the infrastructure bill. He did not pass cuts to prescription drug prices and be pro-labor, the most pro-labor president since FDR, just out of nowhere. He did that because of actual organizing pressure and actual democracy in motion, and because Democratic voters wanted that out of Joe Biden. So I don't want people to think like, oh, both sides are the same because rich donors, money is the only thing that matters. It does matter. Right. It's a big influence, but it's not the only influence whatsoever. And huge developments in this country are going to take, even with we can have a terrible president, but if we make it popular and incentivize it for them to do universal health care and to tax rich people at 80% or whatever, and they do that and they get more power as a result, that's the way politics probably should function.
Well,
I'll let you finish then.
Okay. Thank you for that. And I agree with like 95% of what you just said. I think that this might be unpopular with you, but I think we do need to look at entitlement reform, because the generations after boomers are smaller. And so even with technology, even with robots serving them their food at their senior retirement center, there's not enough of us, of millennials and Gen X and Gen Alpha, to pay for them to have all of these entitlements at age 65 for the rest. Now they're going to live another 10, 15 years longer with medications and with treatments and with all that kind of stuff. And for them to get COLA increases every year, they're going to get cost of living increases on all these funds. So, like, I think the entitlements do need to be looked at. Other Western countries, I mean, France, they had riots and everything, but they took their retirement age, and I believe they moved it from 65 to 68. It's a phased thing where it happens over, I think, 5 years.
It depends what entitlements you mean. I'm sorry, I don't want to go too long for the next caller, but I mean, I disagree. I think we should change the funding mechanisms, in my opinion. But France also has their childcare is probably 100 times better than ours. We have nothing for people. They give their mothers like 5 years off or whatever. It's crazy as shit. They have universal health care. France takes care of the people well. They live longer than we do. But okay, but that's the thing though. If we change retirement, if we had all those things in America already, but if we had all those things in America, we would not need a higher retirement age or a lower retirement age. We'd be able to do, you know what I mean though? If we had all those other things in motion, we'd have less people in debt, in medical debt or other kinds of debt. We'd have more people with safety nets and have a higher sustaining life. So France, if you see them have a big change, they can handle they could probably make their retirement age super high because they have all these different welfare nets that we don't have in America. So if we were more like Europe in some senses, and I'm not like a socialist, but I mean it's in the it's all fun. All right, thank you for the comment. I don't want to go on too long, but I really appreciate
you talking. Yep,
yeah,
thanks,
I appreciate
man.
you. Have a good one.
You too.
Oh, I'm being nice. I also, it's hard to send. You can talk to Trumpers, but the radical centrists are the really ones. They're the ones that get you, brother. They're the ones that get you. Okay. Please drop a like, comment, subscribe. By the way, so I'm gonna say something really quick about funding, and thank you so much for everyone that donates to my channel. But I set fundraising goals and things I want to do. So really quick, while I have a few of you here, if you're gonna donate to the channel, please consider doing it now or sometime in the next. If you're gonna donate, if you have the money, then please do it. Just in my general plans, really quick. So with the fundraising goal of getting a new studio for $10,000, I'm at 20%, and thank you so much. That's really crazy. It's insane that everyone's so nice. Really appreciate it. I'm at $2,010. So the different goals I'm gonna set here. So first off, I want to be able to expand my channel to different mediums. My TikTok is doing really well. I'm at 16,000 subscribers on there, or followers, after just a little bit of growth. I'm at around $2,000 now. Once I'm at 2,500, I'm going to do a guaranteed 200 shows per year, 200 streams per year. Once I'm at 5,000, I'm going to quit my delivery jobs. As you know, I deliver at like 4 a.m. before work and then after work. Tonight, I just got done delivering from 6 to 10. Extremely tired. At 5,000, I'm going to quit my delivery jobs. At 7,500, I'm going to hire an editor. And at 10,000, I'm going to get the new studio. And along the way here, I'm going to use this money as well for Facebook, advertising, Instagram, a bunch of different platforms, and making actual ads for them. I want to, how Joe Rogan has JRE, like Joe Rogan Experience? I think I'm going to do like I might need to do like a podcast format, because I don't think my videos, I don't think my calls will do well in a setting that's like just random YouTube videos. They don't do good view-wise. Now, my reactions do good, but in terms of overall shows, people don't watch like a 20-minute just phone call on my channel, at least. I don't have that built up. But like Joe Rogan has JRE, I might do JTP, like Joel Talks Politics, and then have it numbered, and start it as like a podcast thing. Like JRE number or JTP, just Joel Talks Politics, for the podcast format and taking phone calls. But that obviously is going to require advertising and putting together and finding an editor eventually and getting better graphics, and having time to post on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also getting on Twitch again. Getting on Twitch. Those are the 5 platforms I want to focus in on. So anyone that is interested in donating to help me out with these goals, and I really want to get an actual professional looking studio, please consider donating to Jola Politics, JOLAHPOLITICS, on Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. And like I said, I'm gonna be making some pushes on Facebook and Instagram and stuff with ads and everything. So anything you donate now will go to the ad push on those sites, and I'll be streaming to probably 5 different platforms once I get it going. All those platforms at once. To make sure I get maximum reach. I want to get into the boomers.
seems I always get these podcasts after they've already aired, but I am totally against Trump, and for many, many reasons that some of which you talked about, but I can't agree more that the people need to wake up. If anything, look at the real person. It's not that he's Republican, even if he's Democrat or whatever. Throw off the title and look at the real person. He's a liar. He's a bigamist. He's a racist. He is a dictator.
Thank you for $5, Sri. That was from earlier. Thank you for $5.
And if people don't wake up, everything that he said he was going to do during his campaign, he's going to achieve. Because
that's what I voted
for. All over everybody's eyes. Well, almost everybody.
And that's what I voted for.
And the country is believing that he's doing a great thing, but where's the money going? He's saved all those billions of dollars. What happened to that money?
It went
take
to
it off the
donor class.
Grand total of.
Someone said you're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
I'm an idiot. I'm going to call that person back who called me an idiot and see if they are going to prove that I'm an idiot. Let's see. Never mind. Alright, no one's calling. I gotta find a dumbass YouTube video to watch. I hate politics. 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 Okay. Nice. Democrats out themselves as anti-safety. Yes. Putin's real reason for keeping the war alive. The 5, Trump unleashes military. The revolving door. This will end Florida issues major crackdown on illegal immigrant truck drivers. Nice. Nice. Thank you for $5. Trump supporters are dupes that support child SA and are facilitating the end of the prosperous, cooperative Western civilization. Thank you for the super chat. Do you agree, Trumpers? Thank you for $5. Hello?
Hello?
This is the politics on YouTube.
Hello?
Hi, this is the politics on YouTube. What? What? What am I gonna say?
This genius speak.
Kilmore Abrego Garcia rails against Trump admin. Did he actually speak publicly? Oh, let this genius speak. Yes, bro. Let this genius speak, this dumb asshole.
Y oraron y nunca dejaron de creer y luchar por mi libertad.
And this is why I want to thank each and every one of you who marched, lift your voices, never stopped praying, and continued to fight in my name.
Gracias a mi pareja de vida, mi esposa Jennifer, mi hermano César, mi madre Cecilia, y toda mi familia.
Thank you to my life partner and wife Jennifer, to my brother Cesar, to my mother Cecilia, to my children, to my nieces and nephews, to all of my family.
Gracias a casa, mi segunda casa, a mi sindicato SMART, a todos los pastores, a todas las iglesias, organizaciones y mis equipos legales.
Thank you to Casa, my second home, to my union, SMART, to all of the
Someone said I disagreed with you on 10% of stuff and I'm a radical centrist and worse than Trumpers. This is why the left loses again and again. Can you stop crying in my chat? This is why you're worse, because you cry and bitch like that. Holy shit. Like, why do you have to do this? Why? Trumpers are less aggravating because they don't know better. Many of them are actually dumb. They don't have the ability to look up facts. All right, you do know better. But you still bring up dumb points for what you choose to focus on.
organizations, all of the faith leaders, all of the partners, and my legal team.
Me he enterado cómo la comunidad me ha apoyado, me ha abrazado con tanto amor y solidaridad.
I have come to know how the community has stood up with so much support and has hugged me with so much solidarity.
Y desde el primer día quiero agradecer también a Dios que siempre ha estado conmigo y ha estado dando bendiciones a toda mi familia.
And I also want to thank God, who has been giving me blessings since day one. To me
Nuh-uh. American Christians only care about the white God, alright? This is not going to help you, Abrego.
and to all of my family.
Cuando por fin me reuní con mi familia, esa alegría y todas las emociones quedarán grabadas para el resto de mi vida.
When I was finally able to reunite with my family, all of those emotions, all of those memories will be forever ingrained in me.
Verlos de nuevo me llenó de gratitud y esperanza.
Seeing them again filled me with gratitude and filled me with hope.
Para mí, la felicidad es simplemente estar con mi familia y disfrutar momentos felices con ellos.
To me, happiness is simply being with my family and being able to spend simple memories with them.
Cuando estuve detenido, siempre recordé
Is this really railing against Trump admin? Railing against Trump admin? Is this really railing
momentos
against for them?
hermosos con mi familia, momentos de ir al parque, de ir al trampolín con mis hijos.
When I was detained, I remembered memories with my family, going to the park with them, going to the trampoline with my children.
Esos momentos me darán fuerzas y esperanza para seguir luchando.
Those moments will continue to give me hope to continue in this fight.
The really tough conversation about Kilmore Abrego Garcia that we can't really have because Americans are kind of silly in the brain sometimes. I grew up in a very poor white community, 99% white, and they say the whole thing about him getting labeled as a domestic abuser. Now, the Trump admin calls him a child abuser, domestic abuser, child trafficker, sex trafficker, terrorist, illegal MS-13 alien, all right? But they do have the court filings from his wife about like domestic abuse. Now, in my poor white area, in most households, you'll see some court filing of some family in a stressful situation of someone getting too drunk after a long day at work and they lose their house or they lose their job or something, and the guy is like running out of the house and the wife is following him and he slams the door and her hand gets like stuck in it and she gets hurt, and that is definitely an abusive situation. Now, the thing is, you can't really, unless if you've lived in these circumstances, having to grind your way through life in general, you don't understand the kind of stress that you're put under, and it's not healthy. It's really not healthy. But people that I know who go through these situations in white America, who lose out on jobs, who suffer from addiction, I don't blame them for being in these situations. They might have an area where they mess up, where they do something and they hurt someone they love, and then they need to get help for it. And they do get help, they get therapy, they truly change as a person, they find God, they get redemption. And many white Americans I know have been through this story over and over and over again, and I understand it because I've seen it. I've been involved in it. And the big thing to focus on, especially for you supposed Christians, you fake Christians, is what the person does to recover and become better and ask for forgiveness from God and from their partner. So if him and his wife had an issue where things were super stressful and she had to file a report and she felt like things were going downhill, and then they worked through it and they got therapy and they had this entire saga happen and they still were able to have a happy, loving relationship after it, It's not okay. Obviously, it's not okay. It's easy for you to judge from your privileged position. You could also act like your shit don't stink as well. But I know for a fact, I've seen it. I've seen the white American citizens go through similar situations. I would never label them as domestic abusers, illegal, like whatever, terrorists. I know people who have DUIs and, get caught up in stuff and they recover from it. They become better. But there's no grace at all for a person like this who doesn't look like you, who doesn't sound like you, who doesn't speak the same language as you. Even if they worship the same as you, even if they do believe in God, even if they did turn a better leaf, even if they came to a country they knew nothing about in America and they grinded their ass off. They did not know the language necessarily. They still met someone. They still had a family. They were picking up trades, working their ass off as much as possible, escaping gang violence at a young age, escaping El Salvador as a teenager, and coming to America. Like, that person did some shit in life. They worked their ass off. And I know Americans who have not been through even 1% of what he's gone through, who have way worse outcomes in life, and they get way more grace. But this dirty part of life, you can't talk about it. You really can't talk about it. The MAGA that loves to shit on everybody else without looking at themselves. The fake Christians who have no forgiveness in their hearts whatsoever. That's something we really cannot even look at in society today anymore, which is crazy as shit. So they can lie about everything, and then they can say he's a domestic abuser with no proof in court. I mean, they might have just had an argument or a really bad fight or something. No proof at all, but they can still label this person as a terrorist, and that should make anyone feel sick to the stomach. The government is willing to lie like that about a human being. But it's, yeah, they deported him by accident. It wasn't even a deportation. It was a kidnapping to a third world country to be tortured. We know that, like, Andre, the gay makeup artist, and like 50 plus people were sent to El Salvador to be tortured who did not deserve it. ICE picked them up because they were brown and they were on a database somewhere and they spoke Spanish. And they had tattoos. They had a mom and dad tattoo, autism awareness, a soccer tattoo, whatever it might have been, a bull's hat. They said Abrego Garcia was a terrorist because of a bull's hat. But we can't have those real conversations because Americans can't handle the real conversation anymore. You need it to be doctored up in a fake reality TV show lens. It's pathetic.
A toda la familia.
Yeah, like someone saying he was beating his wife. Yeah.
También que han sufrido separaciones y que viven constantemente por la amenaza de ser separadas. Quiero decirle, aunque la injusticia nos está golpeando duro.
And like in terms of evidence, there are mountains. There's mountains more evidence that Donald Trump has raped people. Mountains more, including adjudicated in court. Like mountains more that Trump has raped kids with Epstein. There's more evidence that Trump did that than that Abrego beat his wife and was like a domestic abuser. Yeah, I don't know.
No perdamos la fe.
To all the families who have been separated, or to all the families who have been threatened with family separation, this administration has hit us hard. But I want to tell you guys something.
Dios está con nosotros.
Yeah, and maybe he did do bad things, and the other outcome would be, hey, he should go to jail or something. But for those crimes, even the worst crimes you have any evidence of, you would not send him to a torture dungeon in El Salvador to be tortured and raped. But you might do that. I would not. I wouldn't personally, but you might.
Dios nunca nos dejará. Dios hace justicia a toda la injusticia que han hecho.
God is with.
Yeah, that's a good question. If all this stuff is true, why is he not in jail? Why was he never in jail? Interesting. Why was he never in jail if it's all true? I thought in America we want proof and we want court dates and everything. I thought we want court dates and actual evidence to be shown instead of just believing the government's narrative.
Us, and God will never leave us. God will bring justice to all of the injustice that we are suffering.
Nuestra comunidad nos respalda y al final se va a hacer justicia. El amor y la familia triunfará.
With our community by our side and with our family by our side, love will trump.
Nunca pierdan la esperanza.
Never lose hope.
Volverán a ver a su familia.
You will once again see your family too.
Independientemente de lo que pase hoy,
regardless of what happens here today,
con ICE, prométenme esto.
In my ICE checking, promise me this.
Que seguirán luchando, orando creyendo en la dignidad y la libertad, no solo para mí, para todos.
Thank you for $10. You up for an honest conversation? I'm up for a lying conversation. Only lying.
Promise me that you will continue to pray, continue to fight, resist, and love, not just for me, but for everybody. Continue to demand freedom. Thank you so much.
God doesn't have jack to do with it. The entire point of Christianity is turning the other cheek when someone wrongs you, and forgiveness, and being humble, humility in the face of gluttony and oppression, and going to the outsiders of society and supporting them over the current like ruling class. Like that's the whole point of Christianity. Those are the primary teachings of Jesus Christ as a revolutionary figure in history, as taught by John the Baptist, which you don't know anything about at all. You don't know anything about the Bible at all, except you don't like gay people, so therefore you say the Bible doesn't like gay people because you're stupid and you can't read. Why would I expect anyone to understand a book that's translated from freaking Hebrew and Aramaic and freaking Greek and 50 other different languages to get to you? But you think you have the golden vision of it. You have enough narcissism to think you are infallible, to know you know everything about God and you know how to follow God in every possible way because you are so smart. You might be Jesus. You might be God's second child. Okay? You might. Wow. We're getting no other people tonight, guys. Also, anyone who brings up a single biblical verse to make an argument, they are lying to you. There's no way to make an argument out of one verse in the Bible. At all, bro. At all. Through every story told in every gospel, you cannot bring up one line and say, oh, this is my favorite line. I hate that shit. There is no context in which that makes sense to say, oh, well, this is my favorite line that I go off of. Like, there's way too much nuance. What brought religion up? The fact that Christians want to see Abrego Garcia tortured. And they have no forgiveness in their hearts. Thank you $2, Timmy. I didn't see that earlier. Thank you so much. All right, no one else is calling in.
Okay, so you're listening to this press conference right before he goes in for his ICE hearing. That's Abrego Garcia. And apparently there's a big crowd out there speaking in Spanish, had to have a translator to pass along his message.
Surrounded by his wife, the former girlfriend that he beat, and his lawyer.
This is awesome, dude. I love Fox News. This is what people hear. This is what they hear. I love it. 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 Yeah, dude, accusations are fact. So Trump did do that to those kids. Yes, he did. Yep. It's fact. Accusations are fact. He did do it. He is a child abuser. Trump is a child abuser. We have more information. We knew that for a fact. Just like Abrego Garcia is a notorious child trafficker, gang member, terrorist, wife beater, right? Yeah.
There's the crowd.
And some other politicians,
he had a translator.
at least one member of the House.
On God, for real. Jesus, his language was not anywhere close to English or even any language spoken today, really. Like, Jesus would have needed a translator to talk to you. I hope you know that. I hope you know that.
But, you know, Brian, you made a good point earlier about, you know, where is Chris Van Hollen now? You'd think that, you know, this is the...
They're off.
Yeah, you think that, you know, this is their cause celeb now. So why aren't
They're
they,
celeb.
you know, why isn't he still there supporting him? He had a virtual meeting with him yesterday, apparently, but didn't show up for his big rally. This is the situation where Democrats have gotten themselves into, where they're supporting an illegal alien who has very serious red flags about criminal activity.
And maybe we should show some of the video of being pulled over on the side of the road with a.
Just supporting the Constitution. Like, if I support the right for neo-Nazis to march in America, I'm not supporting neo-Nazis, obviously. They know this, though. But they assume Americans are going to say, well, he's a brown immigrant, speaks Spanish, therefore, we can believe any bad thing about him. Democrats are standing up with this illegal MS-13 gang member. Disgusting, depraved human being saying this shit.
In a minivan that's not his, driving without a license, by the way, and he was full of people who being trafficked, I believe, over to Illinois. Maybe we should bring up some of the statements from his life partner.
Do you hear this? Is this news reporting? This is news reporting. Someone said that CNN is just as biased as Fox News. Like, they're the same level of biased. I want you to bring up one CNN clip that has any level of even somewhat as much bias as this.
About
please.
The 2 times in which he was beaten. And let me ask you, why is it that you come here legally and then suddenly you want to be a sympathetic figure and you don't even want to...
You want to be a sympathetic figure? Dude, he did not choose to be illegally abducted by ICE and sent to a prison in El Salvador to be tortured. Like, if you wanted to deport him, you could deport him legally. That's the whole conversation.
Take the time over the last few years that you've been here to learn English. How motivated are you to be part of America if you can't even speak
awesome.
English?
In Los Angeles and Las Vegas and former colonies of Mexico, that we now El Paso, Texas, Nevada, like, you know. It's 2025. You can use a translator on your phone. I'm sick of people crying about this. I've heard it my entire life. Bro, yeah, learn some English. Cool. But I'm not going to say someone deserves to be treated without any regard for the Constitution in America, like Abrego Garcia and the Trump admin. I'm not just going to say they no longer have rights because they don't speak English.
6 or 7 years here. You really have no interest in being here. You're using the country instead of using this as an opportunity. You decide to do illegal act.
Hey man, he's paying taxes. He was paying taxes on that work permit. He was paying taxes. He escaped here from gang violence in El Salvador and had a family. I'd say that's a pretty motivated person, in my opinion. But no, if you're born in America and you're born to a rich daddy like Trump, you could be a shitbag and you'll be highly regarded. And also highly
activity instead of being a part of society. And for some reason, Democrats find that sympathetic. So he cleaned himself up. They gave him a brand new shirt, and they want you to feel bad for him.
A brand new shirt.
I cannot wait to see the shot of him boarding a jet to Uganda. Remember, tray table up until you get in the air 30,000 feet.
18.
I'm Steve Doocy.
What the hell, bro? What kind of depraved bullshit society is this gonna be? Like, you have to be so anti-Jesus. They would have beat Jesus the hell up, bro. They would have been cheering when Jesus was tortured and nailed to the cross. They would have been cheering their asses off. Holy shit, bro. They would have been cheering their asses off. There's nothing at all in their hearts or their souls. Or there's no principles. They are antithetical to everything godlike. They are demons. Like, this is disgusting. Tray up. Like, don't add your commentary. Just chill. Just report the news. All right, report the news. Say there's a trial happening. Let the actual trial, even American values, let alone Christian values, American values of due process and the Constitution and a court date and actual evidence presented by the government. And yeah, they can deport him. He's deportable. Yeah, he is deportable. He was here on protective status. He was here on a work permit. Okay, he was protected from going to El Salvador. He was here on a work permit. He was renewing every single year. All right, yeah, you could deport him. But that shows nothing at all about the claims they made about Abrego Garcia being a terrorist, violent MS-13 gang member, child abuser, sex trafficker, whatever. It really is depraved. Yeah, they are disgusting. They are disgusting people. They cheer when they see people in pain. Even if you need to do law enforcement and put someone in jail, you should never be happy to put someone in jail. It should be the job you need to do to keep society safe. If you really felt that way about Abrego Garcia, you don't cheer. You don't cheer to see someone in pain. You say, that's a bad person we got to take care of. Or not even a bad person, but like, if you really think those things about him, you'll say, all right, let's find the proof. Let's find the evidence. Let's use the actual law and abide by our principles to make America safer. If you really felt that, you would never be like, oh, this learn freaking Spanish, dude. Don't let the tray hit you on the way down at the airport. What? Who's that person that donated another $10? Let's chat on the phone and put me on your stream. I don't know what your phone number is. You're supposed to Venmo me, or Cash App me, or PayPal me. Okay. Please consider donating to Draw the Politics on Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. Really appreciate it. Or on coffee.com. Okay. It's like Fox News told us nothing at all about the actual proceedings of the legal system there. At all. It's whatever.
Opinion is of into its capital markets. We let dead old companies die. America so great for 200 years is the government stays in its lane and the private sector does what it does so successfully and attracts 52 cents of every dollar.
Wait. Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank, talking about Trump becoming a communist socialist, owning part of Intel for America.
From around the world.
I am so curious what your opinion is of the government, U.S. government, taking a stake in Intel on Friday. Do you have a take on this, sir? I bet you do.
Yes. I abhor this idea. I really do. What has made America so great for 200 years is the government stays in its lane and the private sector does what it does so successfully and attracts 52 cents of every dollar from around the world into its capital markets. We let dead old companies die in our version of capital markets. Intel should have been sold for car parts 3 years ago. I do not want to invest in it as an.
Okay, now I disagree with Trump using unilateral means and illegal means to buy stake in Intel, but the idea that we should let every company die is really stupid. Like the auto industry, the chips and semiconductors, if a company dies and they produce in America things that we need in America, banks, whatever it might be, if they're necessary for infrastructure and our country's survival, we should not let them simply fail. Now, if we did do this, it should be done democratically and it should be owned by the people and not by one person making decisions. It should not be ran by Trump's oligarchs. It should be done by Congress and done through an actual sovereign wealth fund like they have in Norway. But you should not let industries just die because the free market deems it unnecessary. Places like China, which are authoritarian regimes, their central planning can work and beat us if we do that. We have to have some stimulus, some support of industries that might fall apart in America, even if the companies are old and they aren't good at business anymore.
Investor, and I have no interest.
Yeah. What he's doing right now is copying China and Russia, like state command economies. So it's not owned by the people; it's owned by the leader and their discretion and deals they make with autocrats and oligarchs. But there's a different way to do this that actually makes sense. That like Norway does, like democratic countries. But this way is state command capitalism, which is really bad. Americans know this as socialism or communism. It's really not those things, but we're going to call it communism because it's what China does, and they call themselves communists.
In taking my tax dollars and giving it to a company that has performed so miserably. Why would anybody want to own this thing? Take it behind the barn and shoot it. That's what should be happening to Intel.
Kevin O'Leary, tell us what you really think.
Because they produce very important things that we need in America, and if they produce those things and they die as a company, then America has less of those things. It's not good if we lose supply of that in America. But if we really say that, like, I hate everyone, dude. We don't live in capitalism. We don't live in socialism. You're all stupid. You're all brain dead. We don't live in socialism. You're all brain dead.
We appreciate you calling in today. I am so curious what your opinion is.
You're all brain dead. 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 You're all brain dead.
Wall Street. This is all because of the stock market. So this, by the way, is all because of Wall Street. This is all because of the stock market, because of investors, private equity, and the demand to get more value.
It's cheap. It's cheap to reproduce solid panels and squares. All right, it's cheap to do solid panels. You can reproduce it really easily. There's no unique element to them. It's really cheap. It's good for business.
Shareholders.
Right?
This has nothing to do with wokeness or DEI. You stupid sleeping babies.
True.
Okay, I'm gonna explain this.
Sleeping babies.
McDonald's.
I like that.
The way McDonald's is structured is McDonald's owns the land underneath this building. They own the land. They're the biggest landholders in the United States when it comes to commercial properties. The franchisees then rent the building on top of them.
True. Dollar Generals have so many stores, by the way. They are everywhere. Think about Dollar Generals. You have to visit one sometime.
And you know what happens? Sometimes McDonald's go out of business. And when McDonald's goes out of business, they want to put a different business in there and they want to sell the land underneath it. Well, guess what? When you have a building that can only be a McDonald's or can only be a Pizza Hut or can only be a Cracker Barrel or only be a Taco Bell, guess what? It's harder to sell those businesses.
That's true. That's true. I've seen some Pizza Huts and some old banks be converted to other stores, but you can always tell that there's something weird about them because they do look like a Pizza Hut with a paint job on it.
Every business has slowly been turning into a gray or beige box because
it's like
you know
IKEA
what happens
furniture.
when you put
It's
a
like
vape
IKEA.
store inside of an old Pizza Hut? We all call it, oh, the vape store inside of the old Pizza Hut.
True.
Now, in the future, they'll just pull the Pizza Hut sign off and you'll go, I think that might have used to be a Starbucks. I don't remember. I don't know. But all the buildings.
There's a new restaurant in my town and I've been watching it for weeks and weeks and I think it's a Starbucks. I think it is, but it could be any place now. I've been going through this lately. We're trying to predict what kind of store it's going to be, but I'm like, it's got to be a Starbucks. It has black panels. It has like a brown drive-through entrance. It has like a very sleek high-definition screen in the drive-through. It has these big glass doors and glass windows and like a little line area that I can see inside. It has no logos on it yet. I haven't seen anything about it, but it could be anything. It could be literally any store.
Like this. It's also easier to do up.
Yeah, why does Taco Bell feel like a coffee shop? Why would Taco Bell feel like a coffee shop? There's no reason for that.
Keep on it. They all have the same dumb awning with these weird little latches attached to them. They don't have to have the special McDonald's only custom ordered roof or the special Pizza Hut red shingle or making sure that they have to do this special lighting underneath Cracker Barrel or whatever was going on with Taco Bell back in the day. They're all buying from the same company. They're all using the same parts. That brings down their cost. They're not building play places anymore. It's not because of wokeness. It's not because, oh, gay people, no. It's because insurance for a play place costs more than just having a fucking McDonald's. Because the purpose of all of these buildings is to just pay off the property taxes while the land underneath it gets more and more expensive. So eventually you can sell it to somebody. Like in the case of Cracker Barrel, maybe the fact that they have land that's connected to the edge of every single highway exit by mid-tier cities all across the United States, maybe that'll be a good play for somebody who wants to put up electric vehicle supercharge stations. Oh, look how they're all convenient right here off the highway, and we have robots that can serve everybody $12 hot dogs. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But none of this has to do with wokeness, DEI, LGBT, black people, immigrants. None of that shit was caused by this. This was completely caused by Excel spreadsheets and people going, if we do less, we can cash out with more. And that's the American dream.
Wokeness.
To do fuck all and to cash out with a lot more money.
It's like a money generating video game. You just set up the factory and you make profit. You don't got to do anything. You don't got to work anymore. The richest people of all time do the least amount of work. Not least, but you know what I mean. Like Elon Musk, no one did anything. Well, actually, no. Everyone did all the stuff for Tesla. Like Elon Musk invented no parts of Tesla. Elon Musk did not invent that. Elon Musk did not invent anything at all. He owned companies. He knew how to manipulate currencies into ownership stakes and equity, and he's just a really snarky asshole investor. He did nothing to help the human race. He did nothing, but people think he did because of propaganda. Yeah, this is a good video, good TikToker. He usually has good videos. But yeah, I've been commenting on this for a while. It's so industrial. It's so fake. It's so bland. It's so generic. I hate that. We've talked about this in Discord before, guys. Join Discord, by the way. We've talked to, if you know Raislin in Discord, we talked about, I think Raislin goes to school for architecture. He's one of the mods in Discord. We were talking about this the one week. Really interesting. Yeah, Elon Musk bought Tesla. He did not make it. He just had money for it. It's like me buying... Never mind. I can't say that. Like the subscribe. True. Like the subscribe. Please like the subscribe. Where's that one guy at? I don't know what phone number he was using. That one guy was gonna call in. Elon's dad had a gem mine. Cool.
All right, welcome to the show, y'all. Welcome. We got a lot going on today. I just saw 5 seconds ago that Trump signed an executive order to punish flag burning with a year in prison. Now, if you follow this show or if you know anything about the law, you'll understand that that is wildly illegal. It's unconstitutional. In fact, the Supreme Court ruled in 1989 on this exact issue that the government cannot ban flag burning. But nonetheless...
Never forget Colin Kaepernick. All these conservatives who say these dumb blacks gotta shut up and stop rioting. And it's like, okay, well... How about taking a knee? It's like, no, I'm not watching the NFL anymore. They gotta just stop talking. I don't want to hear them anywhere. I don't want to see them with that crazy hair of theirs. And then Kaepernick wore the socks. Remember the Kaepernick socks? And they were outside like shitting on their Kaepernick jerseys and burning them into like they're burning their Kaepernick jerseys. That was awesome. That was an awesome.
He doesn't know that or doesn't care and plows ahead like the
Kyle went off on Twitter today. Kyle went off.
Absolute idiot that he is. And so here we are. Yet another day, yet another massive violation of the Constitution, destruction of law and order and free speech and the First Amendment. And it'll just continue like this because we live in hell, apparently. So I'll do a longer segment on
Kyle Kulinski on Twitter. Jeffrey Epstein on Trump's hand. Let's go, heart disease. That's a good one, Kyle. Kyle Kulinski. Our fat R-word president Trump just signed an executive order punishing flag burning with a year in jail. What our fat R-word president doesn't know or doesn't care about is that the Supreme Court ruled that flag burning is a freedom of speech in 1989. He's a bloated fascist bitch, and if you support him, you have the IQ of Bonobo. Nothing hates freedom, the Constitution, more than MAGA. Nice.
Only the FIFA presidents of...
He talks to Trump like he is a dumb 4-year-old who just got dropped down 25 flights of stairs.
Only the FIFA presidents of countries, and then those who win can touch it, because it's for winners only. And since you are a winner, of course, you can as well touch it. It's pretty heavy. Yeah. It's the winner trophy. The last one who lifted that is Lionel Messi of Argentina. And here it is in the Oval Office in...
This is how they gave me my trophy after my first ever season of T-ball, bro. I have a picture of me celebrating my first year of T-ball. Little did I know, everyone got a trophy, and they were talking to me like I'm a special little boy to get me to go to practice on time. You're such a good boy. You're a winner. You're a special boy. You get to even hold my big bat. Oh no.
At the White House.
Can I keep it?
For you. Well, you can keep it until you walk up.
Can I keep it?
That's serious.
Or bribing a kid to eat dinner by using candy.
It fits well.
It goes very well on the wall right over there. We'll put it right below the angels.
It fits well.
I love that our president has a hat on that says his name on it and says Trump was right about everything. And he's also a brain dead idiot, moronic dumbass. And also extremely corrupt and stupid. And he's literally a 79-year-old dumbass, fat ass baby who is currently dying in office, and no one cares at all. And the media won't even report on it accurately. I love it. It's really cool. It's really dope.
Well, here
that's beautiful. Yeah,
you can keep it until we have to give it to the next winner.
That's fine. That's a beautiful piece of gold, I will say.
Wow, dude. You watch this video and you're like, that is my dictator. Please be my dictator. Wait, I'm sorry, Benjamin Franklin. I'll talk to you again a different night. I was gonna talk to that one person just because he paid me money, but he didn't call me back. He gave me money. I was done taking calls other than that person, but he did not give money. He did give money. He never gave his phone number. I don't think. Yeah, he looks like a rich old guy with Playboy models. He is trying to call you? No, when I called someone, they were playing that one song. There's that one person who was playing a song when I called them. He is not trying to call me. I'd be seeing it right now if he was. I was asking for that.
Only.
Oh, yeah.
On that and some other things tomorrow, but a lot of stuff to get.
I think Trump is bisexual. I'm just going to say it. I think Trump is bisexual and insecure. I actually think he's asexual. Actually, what's the word for being? Like, he's a narcissist. I think he would be with anyone who would please him.
To today. So in just a second, we're going to talk about how the Ghislaine Maxwell interview leaked. Well, it didn't really leak. It was the DOJ that released it. So we're going to talk about that. We have Trump planning a military invasion of Chicago, also threatening the Democratic governor of Maryland as well. We have Gavin Newsom is currently driving MAGA absolutely insane. They still have not figured out what's happening. They still don't understand that he's like directly mocking them and holding a mirror up to their faces. So that's fun. Then we'll get to Trump crashing out over Epstein yet again, this time in the Oval Office. We'll get to the streaming platform Kick. They are absolutely cooked. I'm sure you guys have heard about the scandal with somebody dying on stream. They were basically tortured to death. We'll wait until you hear the update on that story and how the CEO was intimately involved with that. And then later on, we also have Mike Huckabee, the U.S. ambassador to Israel and psychotic fundamentalist Christian. He, man, does he hit a new low with how he grovels at the feet of psycho Israeli rabbis. And wait until you see how he betrayed this country and what he said to that Israeli rabbi. So we have that and more. You guys know the drill. Everybody please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you nothing at all. Also, thank you to everybody who supports the show on Patreon. We literally could not do it without you. If you'd like to, help support the show, that link is below. $2 a month or $5 a month goes a very long way. You could also tip with that thanks button on YouTube. You could also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. Oh, by the way, we had a little bit of a tech issue on Crystal Kyle and Friends this week.
Where's this phone number at?
Corrected it and sent.
Just tell me your area code. Just tell me the area code.
Back out the podcast. It's a great podcast with Richard Ojeda. Highly recommend you.
Just tell me the area code. Good night. Have a good night, Teresa.
You guys go listen to it. But we're trying to fix that to make sure it doesn't happen again. So our apologies for the audio issue this past week. And then also, guys, go subscribe to Corn's World, the YouTube.
Just send your area code in the YouTube chat. No one cares. Or send your area code. Or send your 3 numbers in the middle of your area code.
Channel. Because we drop live Kyle and Corn episodes over there.
Now I can call your number here.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, man.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so just was talking about, obviously you're live on your stream and everything else. I was just kind of curious about, like, obviously you have this chat and you've got people kind of on both sides of the issue. It seems like a lot of people in chat, have strong feelings either for or against Trump, and that's kind of the point of the chat. So my question, I guess, was, like, from your perspective, and you've shown like your basic viewpoints on Trump, but how do you view people that go into your chat and actually comment and are very pro-Trump? I know you tried to answer the questions and everything else, but what would you say to them?
It depends what kind of person they are. Most Trumpers I talk to are extremely emotional, and they don't know much about what they're talking about, but they think they do. And they get really, really mad if I try to correct them, and they think liberals are like condescending, and they'll say things to say like, this is why Democrats lose, or we finally have a strong president, or they set a narrative mostly. So usually I try to connect on a basis of like what they're going through in their lives, if I can, if I really want to convince somebody, issues they care about, and then we can get down to what conversation can actually be beneficial for us, because some people just want to talk shit, obviously, so those people are not going to really change their mind. They're going to be in chat and be goofy. But if I find someone who has a genuine disagreement, then I usually try to locate where we can get where we can have like a fundamental conversation on how they view it more so. And I do more fact checking or like just correcting sometimes, but I don't think that's really beneficial for getting people on your side. It's more so understanding where they come from emotionally, how they view it, how they perceive it, and then meeting them kind of where they are, I guess.
Yeah. So my mother is a wonderful woman, right? My father passed away. She's a single mom. She had polio when she was a child. She has post-polio syndrome now. She was a life flight nurse, ER nurse, great person, but voted for Trump, right? Most of my family is fairly half and half divided between the two. Like you see us and our brothers and sisters, and I'm 40 plus, like 40, I'm 44 years old. Other family members are like, we got 7 kids, right? So they're like all over the place. I've got my own kids. And we're all over the place, and we have our own family dynamic and everything else. And we're all living through, these kind of more extreme times. And my mother, and then I have, brothers-in-law and everything that are kind of more pro-Trump. And then we've got people that are very much more, devout feminist for like a sister-in-law and other people. And so we're kind of all over the place with our family. And so we see a lot of, at least me, I see a lot of this stuff. And I try to have conversations with my own mom about, common sense topics. And, it's really, I'm just kind of curious as to, you're having this conversation. You started this channel or this live show, which I'm actually kind of curious about how you actually got into this and why you're doing it and, the support around you and everything. It's just from a logical perspective. But, we have this other this other moderate, essentially, family, and we obviously don't necessarily feel like we have a home. I'm more left-leaning, like moderate left. I'm one of those people that was like not happy about Joe Biden type thing. I think he did a lot of really great things with regards to the legislature and everything else, but obviously wasn't necessarily as, happy about. I mean, the government is the government, and you can't really. Most people don't trust, just like people in power or people that have a lot of money. It's very difficult to trust people that are also in government. So, and it doesn't matter whether you're left or right or anything else. So, like from where I am, my goal and my hope is to try to do something to restore faith in democracy, faith in our democratic institutions. And my mother's answer to that is, we really haven't seen much of that on either side. So how would you answer that question?
Trump is a reality TV star. He's made money doing nothing else except reality TV and corruption. Literally, he's made no money doing anything else whatsoever, but he convinced everyone he's a super successful businessman and billionaire. It's all about media consumption and framing.
He's a sales guy, right?
It's about framing, though. It's about perception. Like, if she watches, her media diet is what matters. Her perception of what reality is. That's why talking to many Trump supporters feels like you're talking to a cult member, because they fundamentally view the world in a different way, as if they never, because they never saw the opposing, not even opposing view, but even Trump with like a topic like lawfare. People think that Trump had lawfare against him, but he did a ton of illegal shit. But he was able to convince them that he was the victim.
Yeah, so I don't think you understand my mother, right? I think you're kind of grouping her into like a Trump thing.
No, I'm saying for most people, most moderates even, they just believe what Trump says, and they think everything sucks. And that's by the way, really quick, that's a propaganda tool that Russia uses as well and deploys into America to help like authoritarians win. Is because if people feel like this is literally, I'm sorry, I study this stuff. Okay, one of their methods is. Make everyone hate politics in general. If you hate all politics, then you could say, well, at least this person's going to be strong.
Democratic institutions and everything else.
And then we need like a dictator type. When Trump says, don't you want safety? Then you want someone who's more authoritarian and will come in and like solve the problems without the legislature.
But that's not necessarily the case. What's going on right now? Like it's the exact opposite, right? So maybe people that like don't trust democratic institutions, they want a strong man, right? But no, I don't trust. Like I've done a lot of work for the government. I work for.
But that means you're informed. That means you've been inside it. You know what the imperfections might be, but they don't. They're told a narrative about a big boogeyman. So, they think the deep state is a real thing.
What you're telling me is that my mother right? And obviously, I'm not trying to make it personal, right? But I guess I kind of am a little bit. But my mother's not like she's an educated person, right? She has like her bachelor's degree in nursing. She's competent. She has gotten wrapped up into like Candace that.
No, okay, she's educated, but not in anywhere near this field whatsoever. She's not educated at all when it comes to understanding government, though. I mean, nursing 100%, but when it comes to government and how governments work and how societies operate, she has no understanding at all of that, though.
Yeah, but how are you?
In a formal level.
What's your education? So what's your?
I have my master's in public policy, which I don't even care about. I don't say where I went, but regardless, it's
okay.
you know,
So
I went to a pretty decent school.
literally. Well, I mean, the school, it doesn't matter what school you went to. I mean, like you go to Yale, yay, what's you do, right? Like, if you're not competent in your topic and everything else, like that's one thing. But the issue I think concern with is, like there are a lot of. I mean, you're willing to accept other information if it comes to you, right? If other outside information comes, it becomes, and you're able to validate that information, then you're willing to accept that information.
Yeah, I was
Is
probably
that a
more of
fair
a conservative until I was more of a conservative until like 15 or 16 when I was growing up. So I mean, even right now I've shifted a lot on a lot of things.
Oh, well, I mean, from my perspective, if you're not like a liberal when you're younger, you don't have a heart. And if you don't have, if you're not a conservative when you're older, you don't have a brain, right? So like, I know that's kind of like just a over exaggeration of things, but the fact of the matter is that like liberal politics are more about like feeling things about, social justice, everything else, and conservative politics in the past historically have been more about fiscal conservatism and minimal government and everything else. Now that's completely changed with Trump, and I would say ever since post Bush, but. In the past, that was kind of like the larger divide between, the liberal aspect and conservative aspect. Because I don't like, I wouldn't get into necessarily like the Democrats and Republicans. I mean, Democrats were Republicans during Abraham Lincoln, and Republicans were Democrats back in, they flipped sides about what their actual values are over the course of
I think
American
that
history.
younger people view the world as being more like we can work together and be less selfish. And I think when you get older, you become more insecure, more paranoid, and more selfish. And that's why you become more conservative usually. And I've seen that people that I know going that direction, but I've also seen people doing the opposite where they realize like we got to do this together in society. We can't just lower taxes and kill all the schools around us. Because if we kill for example, my framework for being a liberal is like I want to tax myself higher in property taxes to pay for the local school to be funded because those are going to be productive members of society, lower crime rate, a safer community, better workers, all that kind of stuff. And I want I'll be happier too if kids have a better condition. But all the 50-year-olds around me, for example, they are assholes. Like they want to lower taxes because they want theirs. They don't give a shit about kids. They don't give a shit about anyone. And in my opinion, they're also being against their own self-interest. So I think conservatism is this idea you have to be isolated from at least with that kind of stuff.
No, I think that's a gross overgeneralization because those people that you think they're assholes and everything else, like in the communities that they're living in, when you try to actually donate to, and I'm talking about evidence, right, in your local community, because schools should be local. I think we can probably both agree with that, right? Like they should be at the county level and then, at the state level, even at the federal level. No, let me continue. At the federal level, there should actually absolutely be standards. But I think that there is a lot of benefit to, and both Democrats and Republicans both agree that with the education apparatus, it's better for parents to be able to communicate with their teachers, with the school districts themselves, and actually be able to help mandate those things. But you absolutely need federal standards. But remember, it was Bush who actually implemented, what was that program called? You probably know, right? So Bush implemented the No Child Left Behind, right?
I was talking about taxes, though. I wasn't really talking about standards. I'm talking about like overfunding or underfunding.
Well, but you were absolutely talking about like the management of like who's supposed to be in charge of those things, right? That was my point.
No, I mean, there was no child left behind, but I'm saying that the conservatives they want to lower their own taxes. They don't care if the kids like lose teachers, for example, or lose after school programs as long as they get lower taxes.
That is absolutely a gross overgeneralization. I think like you definitely like lump conservatives Again,
That's why you would.
I don't
That's why you would be
necessarily-
a conservative. That's why you would be a conservative. You'd probably be a liberal if you wanted schools to be funded more, because you're pro private schools and homeschool if you're a conservative usually.
No, like that's some conservative ideals.
That's
like
most
that is something.
conservatives.
That's like no, that's absolutely not true. Like at least
Yes, it
from
is most
my
conservatives. Yes, that is most conservatives. You can say it's not all of them, but it's most of them. That's what it means largely.
my neighbor is my neighbor is no my neighbor is a middle school Spanish teacher, like my best friend, right? He's a conservative. He defines himself as a conservative. I think you would be hard pressed to lump him into the category that you're putting him into.
Yeah, no, I said most. You can know one person who's different. It could be 60% Republicans. It's still most Republicans.
Okay, but I mean, 60% versus 90% is a major difference between, like, if you're lumping in 60% of a group of people and versus 90% or 99% of people, that's a major difference. And if you're lumping in 60%, you are then discounting 40%.
I'm
of
just
an
saying
entire
why
large
people
block.
become more conservative when they get older. That was my.
Well, my point behind why people become more conservative when they get older is that, again, like they have more hearts when they're younger, and then they look at things as they get older that things are more complicated than than the idealized version of the world, and they turn generally. And I'm not talking about Republican. I'm talking about more conservative, and conservatism is very different than Republicanism nowadays. If you're talking about Trump is not a conservative. He never has been. I mean, if you talk about a person that like cheats on his wife and everything, like you talk, right? Like that's not conservative principles. It's not Christian principles. It's not anything else, right? He's hypocritical in everything that he does. If you're asking about why people support Trump, I asked my mother that same question, which goes full circle, right? Why did she vote for Trump? And I think that's an important question to ask, because we need to know why that actually happened. You can't change the mind of other people if you don't understand where they're coming from. And my mother's not an idiot. She's not. And she definitely defines herself as a classic conservative in her own mind frame. And what that means, that's up for, like, it's a larger scale topic. And so my point is that lumping everyone together into a certain group is not necessarily as productive of a conversation than trying to understand where the real American people are. And I think that Trump has, well, and the liberal side has done this to a certain extent, but definitely not necessarily to the extreme that Trump has. Trump has taken the Conservative Party and like derailed it completely. But the Democratic Party has always had the same problem too, that we kind of just put people into buckets. And we have this two-party system, and I'm not going to advocate versus two-party versus, ranked voting or anything else. Like that's for a larger discussion. But like us just trying to find people, especially on channels on YouTube, which you got me calling in, right? You got me donating, so obviously I'm interested. I don't know why, but I'm here, and which I think may say more to YouTube, monetizing their own platform and the industry of large corporations that you're on, they're, I don't know. Like, I don't think any of this stuff, even social media, I have a 17-year-old daughter, a 13-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old daughter. I'm a single father. Their mother's not involved in their lives at all. She lives with schizoaffective disorder. She's not capable of doing it. She's been in and out of jail. The social systems have completely failed my family. And so I understand more than most the problems of the quote unquote average American. But the problem is that I'm actually one of the middle class families. And my life is more and more rare in the American life. It's more so, there's people that have a lot less money than me. That includes my neighbor, who is a middle school Spanish teacher, who his wife tries to stay at home, but she takes odd jobs just to try to pay the bills. He plays the guitar at gigs every single weekend to try to make ends meet, just so he can still be a middle school Spanish teacher. But it doesn't cover all of his bills. And then you have the other aspect of really super rich people. And I got to be honest with you, it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican, they all still support, the pharmaceuticals, they all still support big business, they all still support everything. It's not conservatives that just do that. Democrats, they might pay lip service in general, but and again, I'm not trying to be generalized either, because there's a lot of really good people in the House on the Democratic side. There's fewer on the Republican side because they've all been nixed by Trump, right? They've all been primaried and they're out of the system. But we're all left hanging. The average American people are now left hanging. The Democratic Party has not stepped up to it. The Republican Party has completely abandoned any type of values or principles or anything else. Like you said, it's cold to Trump, and we're left hanging. And I'm one of the very few people that still is able to have a middle-class job and able to basically pay my basic bills. But half of my family members, I have 7 brothers and sisters, right? So I'm one of 7 children of my mother and father, and half of them can't pay their bills, and the other half have been fortunate to be on the other side. And I'm literally the middle child. And it feels like all the middle people in America, we're getting screwed. And it's not just Trump. Sorry, that was a long rant. And if you cut me off and hung up on me, I get that.
Should we tax rich people more?
What's that?
Should we tax the rich more? The rich?
Tax the rich more? Absolutely.
Okay. I think that's one of my main issues I worry about. So on that issue alone, like, Trump is the worst president in probably U.S. history for that, and like Biden tried increasing taxes for the wealthy. So that's a big issue on why I would support like Democrats versus Republicans.
So let me tell you this: let's take Elon Musk, right? Obviously hot, but I mean, you take Jeff Bezos and everything else. Elon Musk is kind of more unique because he actually inserted himself into politics more. Like the Tim Cook from Apple and Jeff Bezos, like, they keep their money, they do the stuff behind the scenes, everything else. They don't necessarily get as much involved in politics. Elon Musk was confident enough in what he does that he was willing to step in and enforce his personality. But I can guarantee you that every other multi-billionaire that's out there, they're just smarter than Elon Musk was at the time, to influence things behind the scenes as opposed to do things. And you and I both know that Democrat and Republican on the House, but also highly on the Senate side, and this is what Mitch McConnell was really good at, was managing the money that flows to re-election campaigns and everything else. It's very, very, very rare to see a candidate that can actually have the amount of financial donations from small donors.
Somebody else.
And the irony of all this is that Trump was one of the best people of getting money from small donors to support him. And Democrats, for whatever reason, even though they have the actual message to get people to donate to their campaigns, they just spam the hell out of them with text messages and everything else. And they
we need to focus on a point at some point. So taxing the wealthy, again, Democrats try to increase those taxes. Republicans want to cut them super low and increase our national debt by more than any president in American history, what Trump is doing right now. So that's a big point where Democrats are way better.
Okay, so why do you think Democrats want to actually cut taxes for the major corporations?
Well, Democrats want
increase
to
taxes.
Increase it, probably because it's better for the voter base. They get more support from
No.
It's
I'm talking about
economy.
No, I know. If you look at the actual statistics, though, with legislation, when Democrats have actually been in control of the House and the Senate, they have not increased taxes.
They tried to, but Joe Manchin, for example, said no. Joe Manchin said no. Kirsten Sinema said no. Conservative Democrats said no. Republicans all voted against it. So 90% of Democrats voted for increasing taxes on the wealthy. Joe Biden tried doing it, but Republicans denied it, basically.
I'm talking about back to the 1990s and later on, right? We had Bill
Clinton. Bill Clinton rose taxes on the wealthy, and he cut taxes for the middle and lower class, which is probably what you should do. That's how we had a surplus. One of the big reasons.
No, that's not why we had the surplus. The major
It's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons, right?
The primary reason for the surplus.
It's one of the reasons, right?
It's one. It's no, actually, it wasn't.
It's
because
one
actual
of the
bills that they
reasons.
passed-
It's literally one of the reasons. It's literally one of the
so
reasons.
what-
It added to
what-
our revenue.
What bill? What bill was passed? That
I'm not
actually
going
cut
through
taxes?
exact bills, but Bill Clinton, his tax policy was increasing on the wealthy, decreasing for the working class. We know that for a fact.
No.
We just know it.
No. Okay, so I'm definitely willing to I would love. I'm going to investigate that myself, right? So let's put a pin in that. But I think we can both agree that the monetary
Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1993. Top income tax rate went from 31% to 39.6%. Corporate tax went from 34 to 35%. The taxable portion of Social Security benefits for higher income retirees from 80% to 85%. Expanded the earned tax income credit to expand relief for lower income families. And balancing some of new revenue increases. So Bill Clinton is a good example of this. All Democrats are better on the budget and taxes, though.
All right, you got me on that one. But yes, okay. I'll give you fair. Yes, you got that. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of Newt Gingrich, and what they did with the what was it called? The contract with America, right?
Thank you for $2, Jason. Happy to see your channel grow, fam. Thank you, Jason. No, but like Democrats, every single Democrat in American history has done better. Well, not every single, but like when it comes to the national debt, like Republicans have the majority of the national debt. Democrats always decrease it. Democrats add more jobs. Democrats are better at everything than Republicans, other than not liking like minorities and gay people. Republicans are better at that, but Democrats objectively do. Every stat in the world says Democrats are better.
I do agree with that. Like generally, and when it comes to actually the economy itself, generally you do get a lot of the whipsaw back and forth, right? So like Republicans kind of trash things, Democrats kind of bring it back up, and then a Republican takes over. They take credit for the benefits, and because it
Why
takes
did
a
your
long
mom
time for
vote Trump? Why did your mom say she voted Trump?
She was primarily frustrated overall with her feeling at the time was, and honestly, I don't know if she has like regrets for voting for Trump or not. I know a lot of other people that I've talked to, like they've had some regrets. Like one of my other neighbors, they voted for Trump and they have some regrets over like their vote. My mother, I think, was primarily, she just was so frustrated with the standard BS of politicians being politicians, and that the system, the government system, just has not worked effectively for a long time, and she was looking for change. And I think that's happened when a lot of people in the middle class that aren't heavily tracking politics. I think that my mother, she's not a super political person, right? She's not heavily involved in politics. I think there's a lot of people that go out there and they look at it and they're like, okay, the Democrats aren't doing a good job. I'll just kick them out and get the Republican guy. Okay, the Republican's not doing a good job. Okay, I'm going to kick them out and do the Democrat.
Well, she's a normal voter. She's a normal low propensity. Well, not propensity, but low information voter that just like votes.
Well,
on vibes,
yeah, I would
much.
say she's a low information voter when it comes to like, yeah, definitely people and everything else. Like she has her life to live, right? She's trying to focus on her family and everything else. Like,
Thank you, Street, for
I
$5
have not
on
been,
Venmo. Thank you, Ellie, for $5 on Venmo. Thank you guys so much. Add it to the Joel total for the studio and stuff. Thank you. Yeah, sorry.
Hey guys, thanks for the Venmo for him. Like, that's cool. Oh, that was kind of cringe.
Most voters vote off of like, it's just like most voters vote off of vibes because they aren't political experts, they aren't policy experts. So it's like, well, this generally, like Joe Biden's inflation was not his fault at all. There's nothing about that that was Joe Biden's fault, nothing at all. But like people blame Joe Biden. He was the least popular president in American history when he left office for the dumbest possible reasons. There's real
my
reasons
mom
to not
didn't
like people, but
my mom didn't blame Joe Biden for the inflation. She blamed COVID, right? So like she was smart about things. Like she's not an idiot, right? She understands the general principles surrounding this stuff. I think and again, it's hard because like every individual person's like an individual person. And I think when like people that run these parties, they definitely have a tendency to lump all these people into like just certain groups, and they say, if we can get this group, if we can get the Latinos, if we can get the blacks, if we can get the whites, if we can get the white women, if we can do this, Like that's how they kind of run things, and that's kind of how politics. That's how politicians run politics. Like,
White women are the worst.
Yeah, you should definitely make a T-shirt of that, post it on there, and post it in your
White
chat
women
every
are the
single day.
worst. Yes, please.
Yep.
Everyone spam
Okay.
white women are the worst in chat.
I really do want to see how that goes for you.
They are the worst. They brought Trump. They voted against their fellow women and abortions.
Oh my goodness, that's your Democrat cancel culture coming out right there. That's gonna cancel you here on YouTube.
Actually, to be honest, if you vote for bad things, like if you vote for slavery, it's not cancel culture to say you're bad.
yeah, but you're like lumping all white women. You're like
It is
the
all
average,
white women.
like,
It's every white woman. It's every woman in general. The only good voters are men.
you're being sarcastic, right?
Well, that's what a lot of MAGA feels, but I don't agree with them.
Okay, that's definitely a. You honestly really don't feel that way, right? That was a tagline or whatever else.
The only white women I hate are Caroline Levitt. I think she's the worst white woman.
Yeah, so AOC, she's definitely a horrible white
She's
person.
not a white woman.
Well, how does she define herself? I mean, have you
She's
asked her?
definitely not white.
Yeah, so you looked at her picture and you defined her as not white. Like,
What?
just.
Yes,
No,
Alessandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is bilingual from New York, who is currently a politician in New York, is not white.
Yeah, yo hablo dos idiomas también. Like, I can speak Spanish too. I can, like, am I white or am I not white?
I
My
don't
point
know
is,
if AOC
like,
is bilingual. I just assume she is. Wait, is AOC bilingual?
all right, so I am bilingual, and I am definitely white.
Racism.
No, what I'm saying is,
She
like,
is
saying that all white
bilingual. Spanish is her first language. Oh, okay. I didn't know it was her first language. Interesting.
probably is, and she probably absolutely does not, like, identify as white. Like, that's not the point. Like, that wasn't my point. Is saying AOC was white or
Now
not.
her
Like, it doesn't
husband's
matter.
white though. Her partner's white. Her fiance is definitely white. He's like ultra white.
But I mean, even that conversation is like not really that important, at least in my perspective. Like, it doesn't matter whether a person's that's like the racial politics and everything else is just stupid to me. Like, learn about who the person is. I mean, that's been my whole point this entire time, right? Judging a person based off of like what you think they are versus actually getting to know the person is it's not helpful.
Well, like let's say for example, I know everyone who supports Trump sending people without due process to El Salvador to be tortured. They're probably all pretty bad people. If you're okay, if you support it, if you cheer it on.
I have never met in all of my which again, I have a lot of conservative friends. I have people that have voted for Trump. I have not met a single one of them, and I have not gone around and asked them specifically, like, do you support sending people to El Salvador? But in casual conversations, they've brought up to me that they don't feel comfortable with that they don't, like, they haven't said they don't necessarily, like, not support it, but they definitely have indicated to me that they're not happy about it and they don't feel comfortable with it. And so
Yeah.
I have not, like, you don't go to your friends and be like, well, how do you, no, like, this is my friends. I'm not talking about publicly. Like, they don't go through and like issue a press release.
Yeah, but
these
they
are
voted
people
for
that I know.
it. Like these are, but the thing is, if you say like, for
They
example,
didn't.
like,
They did not
hey,
think. My mother did not
shut
say.
your mouth. Shut your mouth
Go ahead.
for 1 second. You're a yapper.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
If you
okay.
have people, and Trump does something like, for example, the Supreme Court rules 9-0 that they wrongfully sent Abrego Garcia to El Salvador, and then Trump says, "Screw you! He's an illegal MS-13 terrorist, gang member, rapist, and we don't care because he's a criminal terrorist alien. We don't care. We're not going to bring him back." No, they brought him back eventually, but when he does that, and we found out that this person was tortured wrongfully, we found out this gay makeup artist was sexually tortured, was raped by the American government, sending him to El Salvador, and the Trumpers' response is, "Yeah, I don't like that very much." That's not just a thing you say. You say I don't like it very much with Biden's economic policy. You don't say it when there's crimes against humanity done by the president. It's not just like a civil disagreement.
You're assuming that people are tracking this in a very detailed way. I think if they were learning more about what was actually going on, that they would have a lot stronger opinions about it. But to go and say that my mother, who doesn't know about Abrego Garcia, she doesn't, that she is somehow complicit and what Trump has done in this, I think is absolutely false. I know if my mother had that information,
If
she
he
would
doesn't
absolutely
speak
be
against
completely.
it, no, but obviously not. That's in the conversation. If you support that, I said if you cheer on alligator Alcatraz, for example, if you think it's a cool idea, immigrants can be chased down by alligators, you're probably not the best
I don't
person.
think the people that and the
If
people that I
if you
associate
are
with,
the person who supports that, now the Trump admin and DeSantis is selling merch of this, so a large portion of the Republican Party does support it. A majority does.
I don't know if that's really the case. I mean, the MAGA
is
base,
the
as it's
case.
pointed out, is about 30% of the Republican base, right? Or is that
No,
wrong?
it's 30% of America. It's probably 80% of the Republican Party. Actually, yeah, probably 70 or 80% because Republicans left the party if they're anti-Trump probably by now.
So they all became Democrats.
Yeah, like Trump has a 95% approval in the Republican Party. He has like a 30% approval nationwide when it comes to him being like running for a third term or something like that. So that is usually the floor.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm running for a third term. That's literally blatantly. I mean, just like you said, like sending people to El Salvador. I mean, those are things that cross the line. Running for a third term, that crosses the line.
Yeah,
right?
okay,
Those are
but
things
what I
that
mean
cross
again,
the
what I
line.
mean in the polling, when you say things that are crazy as shit like that, you have 30% of Americans saying they approve of it, and like 90% of Republicans. So that for me is the baseline of like crazy. How much of America is crazy in the MAGA cult now?
You and I both know that you can phrase any poll in a specific way that actually will get a different result for what you want. So the different, like the polls that I know you look at legitimate polls. I'm not saying you're not looking at legitimate polls, right? But I think just like blatant like blanket statements. I'm not educated enough in the polling, but the pollings that I've seen definitely indicates that the grand majority of Americans are not. I mean, if you look at Trump's over and under on how he's handled the immigration status with regards to what he's doing, he's under right now. He was way heavy over.
Yeah,
prior
but
to
do you remember what conversation we're having right now? I feel like you keep forgetting. Well, I'm talking about the crazy MAGA base of the country is like 30% of voters. Like 30%.
No, that's right. That's exactly directly what I just said. The 30% when it came down to like the MAGA voters and the Republican Party. But your statement is, which is probably true. 30%. I can definitely see that 30% are potentially like hardcore. My point is that the grand majority of the Americans, they're not part of that 30%. And
yeah,
but the 30% is
that's
but the
implicit
30% in the
that's
government
actually,
and everything else.
That's implicit in the number 30% is that the majority is not in that 30%. That's usually what you mean when you say 30%.
Yeah,
right?
Obviously.
Yeah, but you
My
keep
point is
repeating that.
Okay, what I'm saying is that we have a lot of people that voted for Trump that are not supportive necessarily of Trump anymore. I think we're going to see that in the midterms, number one. My mother...
There's too many still, though.
Well, sure. I mean, you can say that about... Yeah. So what I'm saying is that, like, when I look at the Democratic Party, because this is not necessarily... I mean, I think we can both agree that, like, the Republican Party is no longer... It's definitely not what it used to be, right? The values of the the Republican Party, like, has in the history has been fiscal responsibility. At least they've advertised that, regardless of whether or not that's what has happened or not. But it's fiscal responsibility, limited government, and states' rights. That's been heavy. And then with the Democrats, it's been more of a federalized approach of saying that we need to have standards and we need to help the poor and we need to have more standardization about like universal health care, Medicare, other things like that. Those were federal things. And so there's more federal involvement. Like that's how how people used to define that. Trump, with federalizing everything and saying the federal government can take over all states' rights, is the exact opposite of everything that republicanism has ever, or conservatism, or both, has ever stood for.
Then why did the Conservative Party? Why did Trump become the prime leader of the Conservative Party? So much so that most Republicans today would disavow Ronald Reagan.
Because the same thing would happen on both sides of the political spectrum. It's all run by special lobbyists and interests.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Really?
No,
really?
Not at all. Because the special lobbyists did not want Trump initially. I mean, he supports them, but they wanted a more stable option at first.
No,
It's not just both ran by the...
Of course they didn't want... Yeah, but when it became blatantly when it became evident that Trump was going to win, and after he won, what do they do? And the same thing happens with the Democrats. Go ahead. What? No, go ahead. What was that? Okay, donor request. I don't know what that means.
It's the donor class.
Oh, the donor class.
Okay, why do Democrats do good things and Republicans do bad things then, if it's all the donor class?
What do you mean by, you think that the Republicans don't ever do anything good?
Never, ever. Not in the past 10 years. All right, we've been talking for like 37 minutes, so I have
That's
to
no,
cut
you're
us
great,
off
man.
soon, but...
Absolutely, you're good, man. You should have cut me off a long time ago.
No, you're good.
I appreciate your time.
I appreciate the conversation. Hopefully, I'll see you around watching in the chat too.
Yeah, man. I'll see you later, man. Like I really do appreciate you taking the call. You have fun with the rest of the audience. Thanks for being patient with me, everybody. I hope I wasn't like boring or an asshole or anything else. Thanks for putting up with me.
Yep. Thank you, man. Have a great night. Thank you for talking.
All right. See you. Bye.
You guys are so mean. You guys are mean. I lost all my viewers during that, but you guys are mean. Here's my presentation again. So for the goal, I'm at $2,010. When I get to $2,500, I'm going to stream 200 times a year. When I hit the 5,000, it's going to be quitting my delivery jobs to deliver packages. And when I get to 7,500, it's going to be getting an editor. Then when I get to 10,000, it's going to be a new studio. So anything you donate right now is going to go to advertising as well. I'm going into Facebook, Instagram, maybe Twitter. I don't really want to stream on there though. TikTok, YouTube, expanding. Really appreciate your support. I also have a 6-hour stream I need to do still from all the donations I got a couple weeks ago. Really appreciate that as well. Thank you so much. Like I said before, I'm going to be taking a vacation, going to the beach, for very cheap, because I know someone. And luckily, I get to go to the beach for cheap. I don't even like the beach that much. It's okay. But yeah, I got a cheap beach trip, so I'll be gone like 5 or 6 days. So I'm going to do a lot of work building out my channel, making new profiles on Facebook and everything. So anyone that wants to donate to the channel, please do it. Really appreciate it. If you have anything locked and loaded for at some point, Joel Politics and Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. And then coffee. Once I get to the 2,500 mark, I'll be able to stream a lot more. I'll reduce my like I said, I'm at $2,010 right now. I'll reduce my overall package delivering schedule for Jeff Bezos, for Daddy Bezos. I made the donor class mad. I won't last on TikTok. They'll ban my first stream. I agree. I want to expand my content on TikTok. So I'm at yeah, we need 1 billionaire. $50. Thank you, Jarris. Jarris has sent $50 and said sorry for everyone having to listen to me. Thank you, Jarris. Thank you, Jarris. You know, some people just want to be heard, and Jarris wants to be heard. Thank you, Jarris. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's crazy. Yeah, I deliver for Amazon. I'm delivering for Amazon tomorrow before work at 6 a.m. So I gotta go to bed. I couldn't find any good shifts for tomorrow, though. I'm really upset. The one I got is... Wait, where is it? The one I got is for 3.5 hours for $68, and you have to use your personal vehicle. So tomorrow's not a good DoorDasher or not a good Amazon shift, but I need it. I need it. Now all you assholes feel bad, huh? Yeah, they do feel bad, and they are assholes. You're right. You're gonna miss Jola's package. Nice. There's some sunblock money for your beach trip. What happened? Oh, for... I thought you said you sent some money, but it was Jarris. Just get Flexor if you got an iPhone. What do you mean Flexor? What is that? Wait, there's a Flexer app that automatically takes... Wait a second. Does that actually work? There's no way. There's an Amazon Flex app that automatically signs you up for things? I'll have to look into that.
We try to do them every single Monday, so you don't want to miss that. We have a lot of fun. And yeah, they're my shameless plugs. All right, y'all. Let's.
You know, Kyle Kalinsky, thank you guys for all the donations tonight, and super chats especially. Thank you so much. Green Lantern, thank you for $2. Rusty, thank you for $10. Rusty, you guys are, thank you. You guys are going crazy. Thank you so much for all the super chats. Yeah, I was gonna say as well. By far, if you just want to send money, you could send a message on there as well. Jola Politics on Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. That's my name on here. My profile name. That's the best way to just send money if you want to send money to go to the goal as well. You could send a message on there, like I said, that goes right to my account with a very small transaction fee. So that's the best way to do that. Or become a patron supporter, Patreon. Or on Coffee. There's a link in my chat that's a Coffee link. You can use a credit or a debit card on that if you need to use that, if you don't have any of the other apps. Thank you so much. Oh wait, I don't have my Coffee in the description anymore. One second. I thought I still had it in my description. Why would I take that away? And give it away, give it away, give it away now. What song is that? And give it away. Rusty, thank you. Thank you, Rusty. Thank you, Jarris. Thank you, Green Lantern. Thank you, Jason. Happy to see your channel grow. Patrick, thank you for $5. Caller wants to feel like a good person, act like an idiot. Jarris, $10 again. Taking notes, $5. Timmy, $2. Thank you. Sri as well, and L again. Thank you.
Go ahead and dive into it. So, Ghislaine Maxwell did.
I'm just gonna watch this video from Kyle Kalinsky because I missed what Ghislaine Maxwell actually said in her thing. Just to get updated on that and then go to bed, guys. I gotta get up for my DoorDash, for my Amazon Flex, I mean, sorry. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Did an interview with the Department of Justice, as you all know.
Give it away.
And, you know, it came at a curious time. It came at the same time that everybody was accusing Trump of basically being a cuck to Jeffrey Epstein. And knowing Jeffrey Epstein and being on the Epstein list and being his best friend and flying on his plane and going to the island and,
crazy.
You know, every single thing under the sun. And, the fact that Trump decided to send, why don't you go interview her? Go interview her, go talk to her. He decided to send some.
Rusty said, ask Louis Rossman. Oh, you did that. I watched that video from Louis Rossman. I watched that video. Okay, I'm an original Louis Rossman viewer. I forget why I started watching him. I really forget why. It was something with Right to Repair, for sure.
The fact that Trump decided to send, why don't you go interview her? Go interview her, go talk to her. He decided to send somebody at that time. What it showed to me and everybody who's paying attention and anybody who has two brain cells to rub together is that, oh, I see what Trump's playing.
Wait, I can get banned if I use Flexer?
Is going to be here. He's going to try to get Ghislaine Maxwell to clear his name. And if Ghislaine Maxwell clears his name, she will get favorable treatment, right? Now, we've already seen the favorable treatment. Bro, you're not fooling anybody. You think you're slick with these moves? You think people can't put two and two together with what you're doing? He already took her from a very, strict high-level prison and moved her into this minimum security prison, which is like a fucking summer camp in Texas, where they do hot yoga and they play video games and they play Parcheesi and they do all this goof. It's a summer camp. This is a summer camp. She's even allowed to leave quite often. That was something that was reported recently. So just a wild, absolutely wild scenario. So now we just got the Department of Justice releasing the Ghislaine Maxwell interview. And let's walk through what she laid out there. So here's what she says to the federal government. First of all, ready for this? She said that Trump and Clinton are both completely innocent. Who's going to believe this? Oh, Trump and Clinton. She also said, Bill Clinton, he was never even on the island.
True.
We have firsthand testimony from people who were there that Bill Clinton was on the island. What are you talking about, bro? What
never
are you talking about?
Dude.
She also says, there's no client list. That's not a thing. So Trump is innocent. Clinton is innocent.
Wait, do you guys want to see something that's really wet? Want to see something really wet? Look at this. This is so wet. That's just so wet and dirty. Oh, it's so wet and dirty, dude. So I had an idea for a skit on TikTok where I was gonna I was gonna make a. I have this Trump mask. I think you've seen it before. I was gonna put the Trump mask over a basketball, and put duct tape around the basketball, and make a shot with the Trump on the basketball, and do like a challenge. You know, if I make this shot, then Trump's gonna like, you know. Do you think that'd be a good video for TikTok? Can I play basketball with Donald Trump's head? Would that get me arrested? I don't know if I could do that. Look at that'd be nice though. Ooh, I want to play basketball. I gotta get in shape. Seeing this makes me want to play basketball. It just makes me happy, dude. Oh, it makes me so happy. So wet and dirty.
There's no client list whatsoever. Ready for this? This is my favorite part. She says,
"Well, makes one shot. Thinks he's Kobe." I have a video of me making 10 shots.
Well, Epstein didn't kill himself. Okay, that's
it.
something that's probably accurate. It's probably
Let me
true.
find
Ready?
it, dude.
But it's not like it's some
so
sort of conspiracy
cool.
or
I was
something.
so cool.
It was probably just like a jailhouse feud that led to him being killed by another inmate.
Let me find myself being all
having
cool.
nothing to do with a broader conspiracy. Why even bother? Well, I know why they bothered talking to this woman. I know why they bothered. They bothered so that she could feed everybody a crock of shit. And
One second. Let me look through my 5,224 videos on my iPhone.
And Trump can go, see? Ghislaine said I didn't do anything wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. This is the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. We also have, she said that Virginia, ready for this one? Virginia Giuffre, the woman who was, who killed herself recently, right? One of the Epstein victims. She says that, that famous picture from when Virginia was young, I don't know how old she was, but 14, 16, thereabouts, right? That famous picture of Virginia Giuffre with Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine says, oh, that's a fake picture. These are all things that are verifiably untrue. Like, nobody even made this allegation in the past. Now, oh, it's fake. It's not fake. Remember, this picture came to light before AI images even, became a thing, right? Like, this has been around, that picture's been around for a while. It's been surfaced for quite a while. And then finally, I'll give you this one. How's this for just absolute horseshit? She denied recruiting any girls for Epstein and denied Epstein's sexual abuse or knowing anything about it. You're beginning to understand why. What was it? The government had said previously, you can't really interview her or take her word for anything because she's a notorious liar. She just lies about everything. So it's not even worth it talking to her. Well, now you know exactly why. So apparently, there was absolutely positively nothing to see here. So, even if you were to just do the bare minimum of research, go watch that. I think it's a Netflix documentary on Jeffrey Epstein. Just watch that. And if you knew nothing else about Epstein, just watch that Netflix documentary. Like, what she's saying is literally everything you saw with your own two eyes and all the reporting and, everybody who was involved, everybody who's given details, throw all of that out. Absolutely none of that is true.
I have videos of me shooting around for like 2 minutes at a time. I'm going to play it. Wait. It's hilarious. Oh, no. I don't know if I shot good in these or not. These are from a long time ago, dude. I'm going to play them, though. It'd be kind of funny. Can you guys watch with me? Please?
Whatsoever. And this is the person that Trump is relying on to clear his name. Why? Is it because they both have something to gain from it. She can gain her freedom. He can gain, his name being cleared. But it's kind of amazing how dumb Trump is to think that this would validate, anything about his narrative. Because everybody knows. She's literally in prison for being a child sex trafficker. And you already made it much more lenient for the child sex trafficker. That's bad enough. By the way, I should be clear, she also participated in the rapes. That's something that people don't talk about nearly enough, but she was involved intimately with some of the stuff that Epstein was doing with these poor girls. And so Trump is throwing anything against the wall and hoping it sticks. Because the fact of the matter is, Jeffrey Epstein was Trump's best friend for a decade. And we know that because Jeffrey Epstein is on audio tape saying exactly that. We know that Trump was on Epstein's plane 7 times, and that's only that we know of. Never mind the time, we probably don't know of a bunch of different times when Epstein was on his plane, for example, or they were on some other plane together, some private plane.
Why does the right wing hate solar energy?
Together. Remember, the first time...
Thank you. I am a stand-up dude. You're right.
Time Trump and Melania had sex was on the Lolita Express. Epstein literally knew the inner workings and details of the first Trump White House.
I have to learn from Kyle Kalinske. The way he says, I've seen so many videos from him where he says this exact information in a way that sounds like it's the first time he's talking about it ever, and he's talking to you personally. He's really good at doing that, repeating the same.
And
not the same, but yeah, the same.
And who was friends with who? Talk about Steve Bannon and
really good skill.
Mnuchin or Cohn don't like each other and they go at it. How did he know all that? How did he know all that? And again, this is something he's on record talking to Michael Wolff, the journalist, about. Trump and Epstein literally shared a girlfriend. That's something that's not discussed nearly enough. We all saw that creepy love letter that Trump wrote Epstein for his 50th birthday, where enigmas never age, and you and I have a lot in common, Jeff, eh? Eh? Trump offered Epstein a job in his first term. This was before everything really blew up, you know, to the degree it is now. But according to his butler, that's what happened. That's one of the things that happened. And that probably was an attempt to say, hey, let me like buy your silence
Epstein
effectively.
keeps getting
Don't tell
slandered
anybody
for
any
no
of the
reason.
dirt that you have on me. So this story goes deep and it goes dark. And what Ghislaine Maxwell is effectively trying to do here is say, believe me over your lying eyes. Like that's what she's doing. Because clearly, if anybody digs even a little deeper, what they find out very quickly is not just the stuff I already told you, but they find out the real secret at the core of this, which we've been talking about. Very few other people talk about it. Maybe like us in Midas Touch. But Epstein apparently learned human trafficking from Trump's modeling agency. Epstein said when he was setting up his child trafficking empire, he's like, we need to base this off of Trump's teenage modeling agency.
Trump inspires all the greats. Trump inspires all the greats.
We know what Epstein was guilty of. We know what's on Trump's record, like 30 different accusations from 30 different
Trump
girls
inspires all the greats.
We know that they were
all the
besties
best
with
at
John
everything.
Casablancas and Jean-Luc
All
Brunel.
the best.
Again, notorious pedophiles. We know that Trump hosted a private event at Mar-a-Lago with teen models, and the only other person that was allowed to be there was Epstein. It was Trump and Epstein and a bunch of teen models. Does that sound on the up and up to you? But it's okay.
All right. I want to see if I made any shots in this. I don't know when this clip is from. It could be really bad. All right, guys, it could be really bad. So don't judge it. It could be terrible. Oh crap! No, don't do that, dude. Shit. Okay. Video capture. Can you please chill the hell out? Chill the hell out. All right, look at that stroke. It's a confident stroke. It's a very, very confident stroke, right? I definitely got to make it. Okay, I made that one. This is from around a year and a half ago. Okay, I definitely made that one. Look at that amazing form. This is how all NBA players shoot too. They kick their leg out too. They get about a inch above the ground. All right, made my first shot. I'm done streaming tonight, guys, so you can leave if you don't want to watch me. Oh, I missed that one. No, look at my butt. Look at my butt right here, dude. Look at that. Easy make. Oh, air ball. Oh, no. Not Reggie Miller. Confident stroke. Crazy. Why am I shooting like this? I don't know why I have these videos recorded, though. Okay, that's a stroke right there. That's a stroke right. That's a good jump shot. Like that's a solid. Like you can pull that. That's pretty deep too. That's a high school 3-point line. So that's at least, you know. Left, right. It's not bad. It's not a bad jump shot. It's really not. There's worse. There's worse. Bro, that looks like a 2K jump shot. You can't even say it looks bad. Come on. You're kind of narcissistic. I'm sorry you don't like my stroke. Oh no, that I see it. See when I don't rise up, I'm gonna miss it. See what I'm wait, did I make that one? No. I'm sorry, bro. You seen that silent ball? Oh, listen to that. You hear that sound? Hear that sound? I missed this one, right? Yeah. Yeah, I knew I missed it though. I had to get right back at it. Dude. had to get right back at it, dude. Do I keep making them? There's no way I keep making them. I missed that one. See? Deeper. Deeper is crazy. I make that one though. Deeper is crazy. Oh my god. See, that's a good shot though. Did I go even deeper? There's no way I made this one. Bro, I was going crazy. That's why I recorded this. I was going crazy, dude. Did I make the final deep one? Dude, I actually was going crazy here. Wait. I don't want to play the noise though. Let me just watch the whole. Okay. Starting here. I'm shooting further from straight away. Alright, first shot. 101. From this position. Alright, second one from there. 2-2. Third one. 2-3. Bad shot. Getting tired. 3-4. This is NBA range, I think. It's close. 4-5. 4-6. Have a good night, guys. 4-6. 4-7. Nah. Only 50%. That's whatever. Good enough. Do it with defense on? I don't know. I have one video of me making a shot with defense in my life. One video. Is this the same one? Wow. You guys have a good night. Thank you for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the donations. Awesome. Really cool. Really fancy. Really appreciate it like always. Should I buy the new NBA 2K? Wow.
Alright.
No way, Jose. Let's see. In the background, you're. That's not that. Wow. Okay. Soy boy debates liberal Trump supporter. Huh. Is that a zip? Kim Iverson. What the hell? Replay. Trump. Alright guys, go to bed. Go to bed. I'm looking for stuff on my computer. I'll end my stream in a second. Discourse. You guys get some rest too. Thank you. Well, I gotta go deliver packages, but for Bezos. Working every day for Bezos, put the payload, get the payload. Oh shit. Take it to the face, bro. That's from the new Clips album, not really. All right, guys, have a good night. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. See you tomorrow.